We're live. Start recording. I can't record it.
Why?
I don't know.
You should be able to just take the stream after, though, right? The quality on Kick and YouTube is good enough.
Yeah,
Take the stream after.
Yeah. Why?
What? I don't understand why OBS would be making a difference, because you've not actually changed any of the settings in that, right?
No, I haven't done a single thing. It's just said, hey, you're not allowed to do that.
I at least feel like I can't take any responsibility for that.
No,
That one feels just like a random problem.
Yep. There's absolutely nothing. I'm wondering if it's because I'm not using the camera. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I hope this sounds good. And
I mean, you're live on Kick.
Yeah, I'm live on Kick. I'm getting comments on Facebook. I'm curious if there's delay in the audio. Not that I'm even going to try and change it at this point. Let's see. Let's see if this is working how I want it to or not. Play. Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, there's a delay in the audio for the stream. Because we're broadcasting, the mic is coming from the stream PC. The video it's taking back to the stream PC is Regis.
Oh, yeah.
From the game
I didn't
PC.
even think about that.
Yeah.
Wait, you can add a delay to audio technically. So you could add like a second delay to the audio in OBS and that should fix it.
But then I have to remember to undo that after this. Fuck. Okay, now we know. Just do the scene on my stream PC. Yeah, there's a bit of delay. That's okay. What do we want? What? Let's go into our brain. What is going to be the most piece?
Can you do audio through the game PC? Like if you was to deafen your stream PC Discord and talk to me through your game PC.
No, because the mic is connected through the Go XLR on my stream PC.
Shit. Oh, you don't have a line into your game PC? No.
I do. Wait.
Yeah, there you go. Can you use game chat?
Yeah.
There you go then. Done.
Okay, wait. So then what do I need to do?
Change the input on Discord on the game PC. Change the Discord input to line in. And undeafen that account and then deafen your stream account. Oh,
okay,
no,
wait.
Wait, I think there'll still be a delay.
No,
No, because your camera's still on here. Your camera's still on here and they're still watching the camera on the game PC, right?
And there went my video for no reason.
Oh no.
What have you done?
I don't know.
What the dude, it's freaking the F out right now.
What button was pressed there?
Nothing. It's literally nothing. Nothing. It's like my graphics card just went, you can go fuck yourself. All right. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do.
Set it up your normal way. We're just
gonna go back to the normal way.
In the corner like you was gonna do before.
Yeah, we're just gonna go back to the way that we had it. Okay, which was me. Okay, so let's go back to this screen. No Discord on this one. Okay, that's closed. Now,
I love technology.
dude, it's fucking awesome. Okay. And now that dude, it's hold on. Now it's not even saying that my my cam link is a valid source.
Right.
There we go.
I think the way to fix that is double click the sort. Oh, you're there.
Yep, I'm there. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to, yeah, we're just going to do it fireside how I had it before. So
Yes.
I'm going to go over to YouTube. I'm going to go to my favorite fireplace video. I'm going to click on it. And then, okay, so you can't see me, but I can. So replay buffer.
I can see you on my other screen.
Well, here we go. I'll just go virtual camera,
Got your stream up to see you.
which is not working, even though I have virtual camera on. You can't see me.
That's all right. I can see you on your stream anyway.
I know, but there's going to be a delay, and now that makes me uncomfortable. Wait, okay. Beautiful. My fireplace is here. I'm ripping, roaring, and ready to go.
Okay.
And now, if we go stop virtual camera, start virtual camera, let's go down to the podcast screen, which there should be a camera. I just added that. Camera. Dude, pro, I am the best podcaster that's ever existed. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Actually
Like flawless. Okay. And then little fireplace down there. Beautiful. Pull the screen out here. And a little up. There we go. Okay. That's solid. People can hear you, but you still can't see me at all. Which now I'm back.
Okay.
And now, if I turn on the...
Yeah, I can see you. That is professional.
Okay, there we go.
I like it.
My gosh. All right. I'm
grooving.
After all those issues, I've officially hit record again, and I think we're ready to talk. Maybe.
Okay.
Who knows? I don't know. We'll see how long this lasts before something else shuts us down.
Solid 10 minutes, all right.
Dude, all right. Well, thank you, my guest and also tech support for today is the one and only Halford. Sucks. How you doing, sir? Hello. Thank you for taking the time. I am not stressed. I'm not stressed in any way, shape, or form. That's the crazy part, though. You were being so helpful, and yet through all said helpfulness, it just got worse and worse and worse as we went. So, hey, you know what?
A pretty standard part of my life. Everything I touch somehow breaks and then gets fixed and works fine.
I should have just told you not to touch me then, because I blame you. Oh, dude. So where do you want to start? I know we have so many amazing things that we want to touch on, but what's burning the most in your heart that you want to start with? Because we could like everything.
I think for me at the moment, like a huge part of obviously every streamer's life right now is platforms.
Yes.
And just like platforms, the state of gaming, and like where the viewership sits at the minute, and just everything like that, like how it's all changed, even in like the last year.
Yeah. Wait, do you have hold on. Do you have two separate vapes?
I have multiple separate vapes.
For why?
So I have this one, which is
dude, that's a thing. Okay.
Yeah, I have this one, which is like lower nicotine. Normally I use it at home, but I'll be honest, the coil's burnt in it at the moment, and I'm waiting for my liquids to come from the warehouse because I don't keep too many liquids here because I would use them all.
Okay,
this
that's
one
fair.
is like stronger nicotine. Is more what I use when I'm traveling. So it's because it's easier to fit in my pocket and it doesn't need like a big bulky bottle to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also just have some like spare ones lying around that I get given when I'm at events and stuff.
What was the yellow one? That's the one that I noticed at first.
Yeah, so these are like the throwaway ones. I don't buy these because I actually don't really agree with how like they have on the like the effect they have on the environment, because they're like it's just basically lumps of plastic with lithium ion batteries. So I don't go out of my way and buy them, and we will never make them as a company.
Oh, okay.
I do get given them for free, and it seems more of a waste to just throw it away when it's full up than not use it.
Do you work at a nicotine company?
I own a vape company.
How have I missed this part?
So I myself, like, I don't even class myself as a streamer anymore because I don't even do much. I obviously stream, make videos. Obviously you've tried Thing in the past.
Dude, it's
So
still
I own Thing.
you own
And
Thing. I thought you
yeah,
were
yeah,
just
I
like a
have.
brand represent. Okay. What companies do you own?
So Halford Sucks I own.
Yeah.
I own Thing. Well, I own part of Thing.
Okay.
And I own Suck It, which is my vape company, which is why I have all of those in the background.
You have Thing and Suck It? That's so perfect.
Yeah.
That's so sick. Dude.
Like Thing, I started as like as a sponsor, and then basically loved the company, loved the brand, loved the people that kind of worked with it. And I was just like, they offered me to become a director of it because I was doing so much work behind the scenes anyway and kind of knew how it all running.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, go on then. I'll take a chunk of the company. Thank you.
Dude, fuck yeah. How long has that been a thing?
So I've been working with them like on a sponsor level for like coming up on 3 years now.
Oh shit.
And after like a year and a half, because like it's the only long-term sponsor I'd ever had. Just because it's the only product I ever used every day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I was like, think I became a director like just over a year ago now, but obviously it's like a fairly drawn out process, so it's sort of in the works for like over 6 months.
Holy hell, dude. And then what about the Suck It aspect?
So Suck It was a company that we started from scratch. And I started that last year. It's coming up on a year now. Like this time last year was when like the idea was born, or like part of the idea was born, because I'd sort of been like developing some liquids anyway. Because obviously the problem is when you use products on stream all the time, kind of just giving companies free advertisement.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I got all the time was like, what vape liquid you use? What vape liquid you use? And I was like saying all these companies, and I'm like, I'm missing a fucking trick here. I was like, what if I just made my own liquids? And we was at an event with one of my friends who's already like big into the scene, he owns shops and stuff. And I was like listening to all the conversations and stuff. And I was like, okay, I was like, can we just make our own liquids? He was like, yeah. I was like, let's do it then. So now we're like full professionally made company. Everything is like legal. It goes through all of like because a lot of people still think like if they know I'm the owner, they think I make it in a shed or something. No, we've got like warehouses and like proper manufacturing. It's all like everything is done properly. Like we're as professional as it can get in terms of that.
So how did you even start making your own liquid? Like how does one, because yeah, that was my first thought was like, oh, you just started fucking batching nicotine liquid. Like that seems dangerous. How did you even start with that part of it? And then we'll get to platforms because this is so interesting.
Okay. So the basis of like most vape liquid is essentially more or less the same. There's two like pretty simple base ingredients. And as long as it's very quality based, because more or less all vape liquids are based around the same thing.
Okay.
But there's different tiers to the quality. Like a lot of companies now outsource it to China because it's obviously cheaper. But there's a lot of quality loss doing that. Like we're all manufactured and made in the UK, so we've got the highest certification of liquid that you can basically go through. And once you've got like the basis of that down, there's a couple of like different proportions that you can use depending on the types of vapes and stuff. It's then just more or less getting the flavoring right, and that can be like a huge chunk of it. And that we spent it took us about 8 months to develop our first 6 flavors.
Holy hell. And what is that
point of perfection.
like? Like, what is your involvement in that? Obviously, I'm assuming you have a team of people that are helping do that, but like, what's the process of that?
So basically, every time you make a new flavor, it is made down to like the tiniest percentages of like proportions of liquids that you can possibly go to. Like this shit is like full computer science stuff.
Really?
Yeah. So basically, like I can't say too much about the R&D.
Yeah.
Some of it's like obviously
how you do it,
and I'd probably get murdered by other vape companies if I leaked it all. But basically, it's like working alongside computers, figuring out different proportions of like flavoring and stuff, testing that, running that through like vigorous testing to see how that affects like coils and like aspects of the vape long term as well, because different flavors use different amounts of sweetener, which then affects how long the vape itself lasts, because the sweeter it is, the quicker it burns out the cotton in the vape.
Oh, okay.
And then obviously there's a lot of testing that goes into that aspect. Flavor wise, it's basically just keep doing it until you get it right. And then once you get it right, it's about doing it in other ways so that it doesn't like fuck up the vape itself, if that makes sense.
Dude, that's insane. Holy hell. So from streamer to multiple business owner. That's insane.
There's like other things that I've worked on as well that were like pretty cool, but they're like the 3 things that I'm doing at the moment that are like my life.
Holy hell. Okay, so we'll get into those later. Now, platforms. What's been, I mean, where are you currently at with all of that? Like what's
So it's a weird conversation, isn't it?
It is. It's so yeah.
I've been a partner with Facebook for 3.5 years, 2.5 years, long time, like most of my career. I can't remember how long I've been streaming now. Yeah, 2.5 years, 2.5 years actually.
Am I able to ask, was that paid contract or just?
So it started at the beginning as like scaled partnership.
What is that? Because I don't know.
Scaled partnership is unpaid. Sorry.
Okay, cool.
And so then after like a year of that, basically, I was like, look, I'm pulling mad numbers like on videos and on the streams. I was like, this was like peak, like end of like mid Verdant school thing when numbers were good.
Nice.
Like,
yeah, when numbers were good. Yeah.
I was like, can I get fucking paid? And they're like, yeah, okay, yeah, we'll actually pay you. And I was like, swear, I was like, was that easy? I was like, yeah. And then I don't know if you was ever on a paid contract or not.
Nope.
And I don't know if you've ever seen any of the paid contracts.
Nope.
The clauses that are in a lot of those things are fucking awful. And I don't know if I can really say what the clauses are. Because I technically did sign NDAs under all of that and stuff. But when they sent me the contract for it, was for a video contract for like the videos that I was making. And it worked out that it would be very consistent money, but probably less money than what I was making.
Really?
Yeah. So I was like, no.
Nice.
And I just stayed on as a scale partner. I was like, as nice as the money was, like, you know, if you'd have offered it to me a year before, I'd have been like, fucking give me that.
Yeah.
Because I'd also seen like how lucrative the money from videos could be itself. I was like, this is nice because I know it's coming in every month. But obviously when you take like agency fees out of that, because it's not like direct, like it added a lot of complication and it meant that I was losing money through that.
You had to have agency fees?
Yeah. So, you know, like CSP?
Not for myself.
Yeah, well, yeah, on a paid contract, they was taking money basically.
That's really interesting. So you would be
20% to be precise. So it's a good chunk as well.
So you would be how did that? So would you only be reached out to via those CSP people? So it wouldn't be you never really had direct communication with Facebook. It would be your partner manager, which was with this agency. Correct.
Pretty much.
Is that right?
So I ended up having some contact with Facebook directly just because I'd been on the platform so long and I was very vocal about a lot of the problems.
Yeah.
But not vocal in the sense of like, I see a lot of people just taking straight to Twitter and @ing Facebook Gaming as if the social media manager who's probably been sacked actually gives a fuck.
Dude, have you noticed they haven't tweeted since beginning of February?
FBGG who?
Yeah, literally.
Literally. And everyone like thinks that anyone's going to get a response from that, which just seems backwards to me. Like I always took it through the proper channels at the very least, because I thought if I'm going to fucking slag them off, I'm going to slag them off to their face. Like it seems backwards to just do it on the internet where they either, if they do see it, it's going to be someone who will actually probably fucking tell you off. And probably also has no power to change anything. So I was like, no. And so I ended up having like multiple conversations with like the Facebook people that we have our end directly. But even then it was quite limited. Like mostly just went straight through the CSP and agency.
Okay.
So, but yeah, no, I declined my paid partnership. And then recently, the only reason I really kept the unpaid one was because I was like, okay, in theory, I get like extra support, and if I have any questions, I at least have somebody I can ask these questions to.
Yeah.
Or if I have a problem, I can go through them. And I mean, when I say I have had an inundated amount of problems in the last year specifically, I was like, what's going on? I'm like, why is my ad rev halved, but I'm getting the same amount of ad impressions?
Yeah.
Why is this happening? Why is like my chat not refreshing? Why does my sub button not work? Why can people not send stars? Why am I making a fraction of the fucking money I was a year ago? Because like of technical problems. what about this? What about these fake accounts? What about XYZ? Like, fuck me, the list goes on. And I'm like, I just need help. I just need, like, there's simple solutions. And I know you can do it because you've done it for me before. Like, you solved this. Like, we had like problems where this guy, like, excuse me about this part, 'cause this horrible part of everything that's happened in the last couple of years. We had issues with a guy that was a known paedophile, right? That was harassing a bunch of UK creators. And I'll get into that. I won't name names of other creators. I mean, some people might piece it together, but we had, like, a ton of us had issues with that. And when I found it out, I said to Facebook, I was like, this guy is literally a nonce.
Yeah.
Can we sort this? And they're like, oh yeah, we take his account down. They took his account down, and they're like, other people that have done it since, and we've had issues with, or like whatever. They're like, no, we can't take accounts down. And I'm like, what's fucking changed?
Yeah.
I'm like, what's changed?
So how did that, as you were bringing up these issues to them, how did that communication change over the course of time? Because you were saying that originally they were dealing with shit, and then it got to a point where it seemed like either they just didn't care, or they just weren't worrying about it. What was that for you? Yeah, were they very communicative? Did you actually feel like you were talking to a normal person? How did that start to change?
We, like, obviously there were always normal people. It was always through Discord mostly that I had the conversations, because it was just directly with our agency. And it would be like, hello, I need this sorted, or I need like an update on this, like, why is this happening? And they'll be like, okay, we've got a meeting on XYZ day, like, I'll come back to you then, or I'll call you then, or whatever. Like, I had quite a good relationship with them. So normally I knew that if I had an issue, it would probably either get sorted, or I'd at least get an answer as to why it was a thing. And over the course of time, like, it just kind of started dwindling.
And time frame wise, like, when were you getting replies versus when did it start lagging?
Probably like last year, when everything was okay. Like, start of last year, everything was okay with the platform. Like, it sort of started to have that downwards effect.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like bad enough where everyone's fucking jumping ship. I also had a different guy that worked at the agency at that point, who now actually works for the talent agency that I'm with elsewhere.
Oh, nice.
Which is quite nice because I get along with him really well. But he basically left the other one, and the communications got handed over to like somebody new. And obviously they were trying to learn the account with them a bit differently. And it just kind of like, I feel like Facebook's communication went a lot as well.
Yeah.
Because that was sort of the time where, like, I don't know if you remember them having like a bit of an existential crisis. And we went from like the FBG logo to the normal Facebook logo, and then like change it back. And then like, if you go on the Facebook Gaming Facebook page, there was like a period where they just changed all of the artwork from like the FBGG logo to just the Facebook logo, and then they changed the banner to just a random green screen, and had like a bit of an identity crisis. Yeah, it was fucked. It was like a year ago now. It was really bizarre.
That's amazing.
And then it just kind of all went downhill from there. That was literally where I started watching it, and it started going wrong.
And how are you dealing with this, like, stress as someone who's relying on these things to do your job? You seem very good about at least getting it out and trying to affect the change, as opposed to just sitting there and bitching about it. So how did you start to deal or not deal, or what was that?
I paint.
Nice.
If ever I'm stressed, I just paint.
Seriously?
Yeah, I love painting. I absolutely love painting. Like, all of this is hand painted behind me. They're all like paintings.
By you?
Yeah, by me. Yeah.
Dude,
I love painting.
that's sick. How long have you been painting?
Since I was a kid. I done it at school. Always, like, when I done it in school, I'd done like very like taboo shit. Like, you do art in school in the UK, they want you to like focus on Picasso and like famous artists. There's a lot of like really fascinating like satire artists that I love. Like, did you ever hear about like Charlie Hebdo?
No, maybe.
It was a French magazine that was attacked by ISIS a few years ago because they'd done satirical comics.
Oh no.
And they had done it, and like, it was a big thing in like 2015. And that was sort of around the same time that I found their art. And like, their art is very cartoonized, but it's more about the message that they send.
Yeah.
And it's very like political, and so I won't go into like too much of it because it definitely splits opinions.
Yeah.
But they're like the French version. You might know The Onion.
Yeah.
They're sort of like a French version of The Onion.
Oh, okay, nice.
Where they just rip the shit out of everything.
Just taking the
you know
piss
what I mean?
for fun.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they do it more in like a cartoonish style artwork. And I'd done a lot of artwork like that in school, so it's very sort of taboo. It was like, oh my god, this guy's took this like 16-year-old is talking about like ISIS and terrorism in art form instead of just painting a mountain. And
So
I
wait,
don't
so
know.
you were like mimicking or taking inspiration from what they were doing and would paint that in
Yeah,
your
yeah. And so
That's
as like an
awesome.
actual child, like, oh mate, my teachers hated it. I've done it for like my actual exam piece as well. I done a piece on addiction. So I did like a huge painting, and it was like 5 foot tall, and I've done it out of coffee and ink. And it was of like a mannequin, and all of the grain on the mannequin, because it was like a wooden mannequin, all of the grain on the mannequin was written out of like a dip fountain pen, and it said addiction over and over and over again. And it was actually kind of like beautiful foresight into how my life would go later on down the
Yeah.
line. And I'd done like sculptures that accompanied it that was like smoking cigarettes, and done that for like my exam piece. And fucking hell, it didn't go down well with the teachers, but it was quite funny to see.
How did you get that inspiration as a 16-year-old? Like what was your relationship with addiction at such a young age that you felt compelled to put it into art?
So I have like one thing that you'll notice about me is if I ever have like a problem, I'll try and make like a solution that I can benefit from that. So
Okay.
like I'm addicted to caffeine, so I started working for a caffeine company and then became a director of the company. I vape, so I made a vape company.
Yeah, that's fair.
I paint all the time, and people want to buy my artwork, so I'm about to start selling my artwork.
Dude.
Like if I can turn it into something that isn't just me sitting there doing fuck all, then like I will. And so from a very young age, like the culture that I was in was like extreme sport culture, like BMX, skating, that sort of stuff. And I've been doing that since I was like 10, 11. And from that age, especially in the UK, I don't know how strong and prominent it is in the US. I imagine it is, but it's like you're chugging monsters and Red Bulls to get
Oh
you through the
yeah.
day.
Yeah.
And so from like the age of 12, 11 or 12, I was chugging like 2 or 3 monsters every day. And it started just to fit the culture,
Yeah.
and then swiftly led to an addiction because of the chemical imbalances of like, all of the stuff that comes from drinking too much caffeine. And so I've always been like wired on caffeine ever since I was a kid. And then I started smoking when I was like 15 as well. And so like I almost was doing it as a satire of myself at the time, because when I went to a very posh school, and so whenever I like rocked up into a class like smelling of cigarettes, and it was very prominent, people would always like try and like get me in shit with the teachers. And so it almost felt like poetic for me to sit there and be so blasé about the fact that I was smoking while I was supposed to be in school and
Yeah.
do artwork about it for an exam piece. I don't know. It was complete rebellion stage for me, and it was just a case of me pulling out like a deck of cigarettes in front of my teacher and being like, "Making art out of it, miss. Don't worry, it's not why I smell like them." Do you know what I mean? It was just me being
Oh,
a rebellious 16-year-old.
that's amazing. And that ended up parlaying to where you're at now. Just saying, fuck you, I'm still doing
Yeah,
these, like finding
pretty
success
much.
through that.
Pretty much, yeah. I went to a school like at the time, like I wanted to join the military. I wanted to be a marine in the UK, right? And
Why?
at the school I was, why? I don't really know. It was always what I'd wanted from as long as I can remember. It's always what I wanted, and there was like a huge part of me that was always at the time like patriotic to an extent.
Yeah.
I think I had a very misled understanding of politics and the way our country was run, admittedly, because I don't feel the same way anymore.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just felt like a calling to me. It was my way of saying like I want to help people, and that's always
Nice.
kind of where I want to been in my life. And I was like, there are thousands of people that can't defend themselves and can't look after themselves. If anything ever did go wrong with the country or people needed protecting, at least I know I'd be in a position to be able to do so. And I think that kind of has translated and transpired into the work that I do now. Into like, you can look at vaping and caffeine and stuff in whatever way you want. Like the science behind vaping says it's healthier than smoking. Um, and so if people can move, like my personal experience, I've gone from smoking to vaping. I feel a lot better for it. If
Yeah.
I can run a marathon on it and train every day and be at the fittest I've ever been, probably not that bad in comparison to smoking when I was writing myself off every day.
Yeah.
And like through the streams and stuff, and giving people that escape and being able to help people through all the charity work and things like that. I think it basically transpired that instead of doing it through fighting, I've just done it through like other ways instead. I don't know. I've just always kind of been that person that I'll always be the first one to help you in
Yeah.
in like dire situations. I don't know, like there's limits to that, because when people come to me with really weird menial problems, I'll just be like, Google it. But
Really?
if it's like, yeah, I'm strange, man.
Can
My
you
like,
define a menial, or do you have an example off the top of your head?
if I've learned something from Google, I will tell someone else to Google it.
Everyone fucking listen. Thank you. The amount of times where people will like, and I will admit that I'm also the person where if I think that someone might know the question, even if it's a relatively Googleable question, I will ask you, because that's maybe you have like a little bit more nuance to it. But the amount of times where it's like, hey, where can you download X? And I'm like, type that in Google. Hey, how do I type that in Google?
Like, I'm a firm believer in independence, right? And so when people come to me with a problem and they don't even know the context behind their own problem, I'm like, have you looked into it at all? Or have you just gone to the very first fucking option that you think might be able to help you?
Yeah. I'll be here for like step 3 and 4. You need to do steps 1 and 2 yourself.
Yeah, do a little bit of research before you come running to me and waste my time having to give you all the context that you could have literally found with 4 words in a Google search. Do you know what I mean?
Does this happen a lot to you?
It used to happen a lot. Like when, like once again, back in the days, like particularly lockdown, when I had gone from like no followers to like blowing up over like the course of a few months because I was putting so much work in. I was getting a lot of smaller creators come to me and asking me like fuck tons of questions about streaming.
Yep.
And I was like, my response would be something along the lines of like, most of the time, if it was like a really difficult question, and I remember Googling that myself and sitting there and thinking, fucked if I know how to do that. Like, I would normally help them because I'd be like, I'm not going to sit there and tell you Google something if I couldn't find it on Google.
Yeah.
But like, when it was something like, what software do you use to stream? I'm like, you can ask me and wait for me to respond, or you could type that exact sentence on Google and it will give you a list of like 5 of the best softwares and break down the pros, cons, and how to use every single one of them.
Yeah.
Versus my biased opinion because I only use one.
Especially when it comes to like, what do you think is the best? What do you think is, I have X, Y, and Z for a streaming PC. Do you think that's going to be enough?
Oh, don't get me started.
I don't know. Type it into Google. Google will tell you.
Yeah, or ask someone whose fucking job it is to be tech support. Like,
yeah, that's
like, man, it got really frustrating at a point where like I would then, like, if you message my page, it responds with, I don't read these messages a lot, message me on Twitter. I was like, fuck it. If people are going to spam me with messages, I'm going to at least grow my Twitter because of it.
That's actually really smart. Because yeah, I tell people like, yeah, I sent you a message on blah, 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 or I sent you a DM and I'm like, I'm not going to see it. You should just maybe message me on Twitter and I might see it. Maybe.
Literally, like I've got 5 different Facebook accounts linked to my one account. So I have all of those messages. I have 2 free Twitters, 3 Instagrams, multiple YouTubes. It's like nowhere's easy to message me.
Yeah.
And people still get vexed about the fact that I don't answer them.
Dude, and I'd be curious to see what your opinion on it is. My biggest gripe with existing on social media, with having this public job, I guess you can say, is the amount of time we are, I don't even want to say expected, but yeah, I'll use the word expected. The amount of time we're expected to also then reply to all of these things and do all of these, reply to every single comment and message and DM and blah, 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 blah over the course of all of these pages that we have. When we're already, I mean, giving 7 to 8 hours or however long you're streaming in a given day, how has your relationship been with managing that? Like, was there ever a time where you were the person that was trying to respond to all the DMs and then you just got to a point where you're like, I can't live my life like this? Like, was that ever a struggle for you?
So when I was smaller, like my time frame on all of this went really weird. Like the first year of my career in streaming was like, I done it for fun, more or less. And I quit my job towards like the last 2 months of that first year because I was off work anyway, like because of COVID and stuff.
What were you doing?
I can't say where because I'm talking to myself. I worked on sites basically doing maintenance.
Nice.
It sounds more boring when I can't say the place because the place was cool, but I don't fancy leaking where I live. So,
that's fair. You were fixing cool shit.
Yeah, I was fixing cool shit basically. Nice. And you know, I'd done like other jobs before that and stuff, but like at the time, like I was off work because nothing was going on over there. So there was like, there's nothing to fucking fix. And like, you know, everyone's on furlough because of COVID and stuff. So I was like, fine. and I've really knuckled down with streaming. I'd already been doing it like 6 months. After like another 4 or 5 months of that, like it started to blow up and do really well. So I was like, fuck it, quit my job.
Nice.
I say blow up and do really well. I mean, I was making like $400 a month.
Well, and I was gonna say,
Um,
what was that blow up for you? What was that?
well, it was just like consistency at that point. I was getting like the same names in the chat. Like we was getting like supporters and like the odd donation. Like I've never been the person that's pushed for that.
No.
Like to this day, I refuse to do it. I have very strong like opinions on that style of things. But at the time, like it was just like, you know, people were hanging out, and basically somebody messaged me like the day after a stream once and was like, I just want to say thank you. I was like, what for? And they was like, for streaming as consistently as you do. Like I was doing 12-hour streams every day. And I was like,
Jeez.
yesterday I was stood on a bridge and I was about ready to end it all. And I got the notification for your stream. And I, for whatever reason, decided to pull your stream up. And I sat there on the edge of that bridge for an hour watching your stream until I eventually climbed down and just chuckled the entire way home watching your stream. It's like, you saved my life
Jesus.
yesterday. I just want to say thank you. And I was like, fuck, I really don't know what to say to that. But I was like, just know that this is what I love doing. And the fact that you've done that has inspired me to continue working harder. And I appreciate you sharing that with me. Like, thank you. It takes a lot to do that.
Yeah.
Just know that if you ever need us, we're here. Like, there's a whole community that will help back you. And I rang my boss the next day and was like, I want to quit. And he goes, what? I was like, yeah, I quit. And he goes, why? I was like, I don't know. I just feel like I'm fucking making a difference here. I was like, I'm sick of fixing shit and, you know, draining puddles and fixing taps. I was like, it's so boring. I was like, I'm not achieving anything. I was like, I'm going to take a risk. I was like, I fuck knows if it will work. I had like, averaging like 20, 30 viewers at the time, but I was like, fuck it, whatever. I think I made $400 that month. And I was like,
Nice.
oh, well, let's just give it a go. And then 2 months later, I went into a tournament hosted by Finn at the time.
Nice.
And I won the tournament and made a very, very good, like, I didn't get any publicity from the tournament. And this is one thing that, like, still to this day winds me up is people trying to denote the success to the tournament itself. It was the video I made around the tournament and how I made that video that I put the success to, because it was like, I didn't get anything from the tournament itself, but I made a video about it and done it in a very clever way. And that video was my first ever viral video. It was like just shy of 1 million views to this day.
Nice.
Was
and
this
it was
the
YouTube?
first video I'd ever really, no, this was Facebook.
Okay. Fuck yeah.
I'd never made any videos, but I'd also just accepted partnerships. So I just got ad rev. And I was just watching the money on this video go up. And I'm like, fuck. I'm like, no wonder these people are rich. I was like, this is insane. And so I made a couple more videos that month. And like that month, I made $5,000.
Nice.
And I was like, mate, I've still only made like $500 from streaming, but I made like $4,500 from these videos. I was like, this is fucking insane. I was like, can I do this every month?
Yeah.
I started daily uploading.
And you were editing these yourself?
I was editing these myself. I've only recently stopped editing my own videos.
Damn, dude.
And I daily uploaded for almost 3 years without missing. I missed like 2 or 3 days in that entire
What
time
was
frame.
the schedule you put yourself on in order to have that level of output?
When I was an alcoholic, it was a lot easier.
I was gonna say, I didn't know if it was gonna be harder or easier. Really?
No. So I've never been diagnosed, but I'm very, very ADHD. Like very ADHD. I was meant to get a diagnosis last year, but my life just took a mental turn and I got sued instead. So I've been spending money on lawyers. I can't talk about that one, unfortunately, but hopefully one day. But yeah, so I was meant to get a diagnosis last year, but basically alcohol would really calm me down. Like would calm down the point of my brain that stopped me from focusing. So like while I was drinking, like at the time I was grieving as well because I just lost my granddad, and that was going through like all of this period of my company, like my business blowing up and going from making like such a small amount of money to making like life-changing money every month. And I'm like, my granddad's dead. I was like, what do I do with myself? So I just drank all the time. But I unlocked like this superpower. Like I'm probably one of the best functioning alcoholics that ever existed. Like I would sit there and I would start drinking from the first thing in the morning till like I went to sleep. But it would just turn off all of like the anti-focus in my brain. And I would sit there like a machine at a computer all day. And I would get so much work done. Like there was times where I would be able to go live for like 12 hours, break every single game somehow into a piece of content for a video. And I would be weeks ahead on videos. Like I could put that spin on it and it just worked. And every single one was going viral. It was insane.
So you would be streaming whilst drunk?
Yeah, all the time. I would drink on stream, like Yeah, I was terrible for it, mate.
And were people, to kind of dive in, were people aware that you had this relationship with it? Was there ever that question? Or is it also, because I also know drinking culture in the UK is a little different as well. So like, how did that?
I don't like, no one ever really picked up on how much I used to drink until I kind of, until like a little bit later on in my life, really. Like like a year down the line from that, a year or two down the line from that. Because I was drinking like every day, so I was kind of had quite a good tolerance to it.
Yeah.
And as long as I was just drinking beer, I could put beer after beer after beer away. And because I sit in an office on my own all day, no one will fucking notice it. It's down to me to clean the office. It's down to me to look after all the office. Like, this is like completely separate. Like, this is like my studio. I've got my own like bathroom and toilet, and then I've got another office out the front.
Nice.
So like, and it's all completely separate to any other building. So like, you have to physically come in here to see what I'm doing, and no one ever did. It was just me.
And how long was this going on for, if you don't mind me asking?
So let me check my tattoo. My granddad died in 2020. Sorry, it blew away a lot of my memory. My granddad died in 2020 in the December, and I'd sort of been drinking like relatively heavy for like a couple of months before that, just because it was lockdown. There was fuck all else to do. After he died, I really went off the rails a little bit, and I buried my head a lot more into my work. But with that came the fact that because I had no longer had to work a normal job and I could just do this shit all the time, there was also no real time frame that I had to be awake or go to sleep. I was awake till like 5 o'clock every morning streaming, and then I'd wake up at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon and just start drinking again. And so it kind of started getting worse. And then you can like, if you was to go back through like a time frame of maybe like my Instagram or something and look at the pictures, you can see like where I started putting on weight and stuff as well. And then a few months after that, basically I turned this whole like building into an office. And that was done by like the April. And by that point, like I was drinking more. And especially on my own, like I'd make sure I had like a case of beer with me pretty much every night, and I'd polish off like a case of beer every night. And if that still wasn't enough, then I'd do like whiskey and move on to rum and things like that.
Dang.
And then like when I'm trying to think what the time frame was, later that year, pretty sure it was later that year. What? Yeah, it was end of 2021. We went out I hit 100K on Facebook, and we went out to celebrate. I took my best friend who now works with me, his wife, and at the time I was still with Jade. And so the four of us went out up to London, and we went up to the Shard, which is, do you know what the Shard is?
No idea.
It's like our version of the Empire State. It's just like a massive fucking bougie building in the middle of London.
Oh yeah.
And so we went up there and went to like a 5-star restaurant up there, and I spent a lot of money that night. Like, I spent like over £1,000 in one night. Like I think at the time, which was equivalent of about $1,500 on 4 of us for one night. I didn't even remember it. And the next day I had to wake up and like drive Jade back to the airport. And I woke up like hanging out my arse, and I was like, she's not even fucking talking to me. I was like, I've probably been a right dickhead. So I dropped her back to the airport, came home and was like, I think I need to stop drinking. I was like, I don't even remember it. I was like, I checked my bank balance and was like, fuck, this isn't good. I was like, I've just eaten probably the most expensive steak I'll ever eat in my life. Like, done all of this shit. And I was like, celebrating something that's supposed to be good, and I've somehow ruined it. And so it was like the kick up the arse that I needed. Plus there was like other things. There was like, not to the same extent as alcohol, but like drug usage and things like that as well. Was like definitely becoming more of a thing as I was making more and more money. And it was like, we're going out partying all the time. It was like in environments where drugs were like very prominent. And it was like, I want to stay away from that now that I'm more in that sphere. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to do that if I don't go sober. So I went sober, just off the cuff, decided I was going to stop drinking, threw away the last of the beers that I had.
Cold turkey.
Yeah, cold turkey. It was fucking awful.
Wow. How? I know how dangerous that can fucking be, especially with the amount that you said you were drinking. That
was fucking awful. It was probably one of the worst things I've ever done.
What was that experience like?
It was weird having so much more energy, but in a bad way. Because like I could sleep properly. Like, I don't know if you like, everyone feels like if you drink, you sleep better. You don't.
You don't know.
It's such a backwards way of looking at it. So I was sleeping, but I was really struggling to get to sleep. And then when I fell asleep, I wouldn't wake up for hours. Like I was like dead to the world. Like you honestly thought I'd be dead. And then I'd wake up and I'd have like this weird energy, but it was like this negative energy because all of the emotion and things that I'd been suppressing for the last like year and a bit, um, just were now like I couldn't fucking escape that shit anymore.
Yeah.
And it was awful. Like I hated it. So I really like even then, like after that, I buried myself even further in my work, which is hard on relationships.
Oh yeah.
And like the people that are around me, like my friends, my family, everyone, like I just kind of cut myself off quite a lot and worked a lot harder. But I also couldn't be anywhere near alcohol. Like if I went near alcohol, that was it. Like I'd smell it and have to walk away.
Mm.
And like about a month into being sober, like my mom was at a work do and she asked me to come pick her up. And I got dragged in and I was dragged in and someone's like tripped and spilled tequila on me. And it was like in winter in England, so it's fucking freezing anyway. But I was like,
Yeah.
I have to go. I was like, I have to leave. I was like, I cannot stay here like smelling of tequila. And I had like a massive argument with my mum about it the next day. I was like, do you know how fucking disrespectful it is to drag me into an environment that I'm not feeling comfortable in at that point? Like completely unwarranted because she was pissed and I know what it's like to be pissed and make mistakes and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I felt terrible for it, but I also felt terrible for the fact that I couldn't control myself around the alcohol.
Yeah.
But it put me on such a better path of my life. And I lasted 9 months of
Nice.
complete sobriety. And then I got sued. And I
Yeah.
got I got the letter through on my basically that like on a weekend or not on a Friday, and I was at an event on the Saturday Sunday with a bunch of like people from the veterans charities that I raise money for.
Uh-huh.
And I was casting an event for them. And I was like, do you want a beer? I was like, yeah. And I was like, I thought it was cold turkey. I was like, fuck it. I was like, I've had the most stressful week of my life. I've just taken on a new full-time member of staff and got sued in the same week. I was like, I deserve a beer. And
How did that feel in that moment?
Felt fucking wonderful.
Really?
The next day I hated myself.
That's
I almost hated myself as I was doing it because I was like, I shouldn't be doing this. And so then I drank more than one and I didn't get completely bollocked, but I had like a few to be like tipsy.
Yeah.
And then I went home and then the next day I woke up and was like, I shouldn't have done that. But I was like, I also don't think I would have made it through that night without having a breakdown. Cause like at this point I was fine being around alcohol, but I was like also on the edge because like mentally I was so stressed. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was like, I've never been sued before. I've never had like this sort of shit come up on my desk. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? And so I kind of just caved, really. There's no other way of saying it. I just caved.
Yeah.
But like, I'm at a point now where I'm sober at the moment because I'm training for a fight.
Nice.
But
Boxing.
like, that's the only, boxing. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I've never boxed in my life, but I thought I'd give it a go. So.
And you're actually going to do a fight?
Yeah.
Okay, I have more questions on this. Keep saying words because I still want to backtrack.
But so like I'm sober at the moment, but like now I'm at a point where I can go out, I can have a singular beer on a weekend, or I can have a couple of beers and enjoy myself. Or if I really want to go out and get absolutely fucking wasted, I will, but I don't feel the need to do it the next day. And I don't like taking something away from myself forever.
Yeah.
Like, I like moderation. And I'm very much at a point now where moderation is like a huge part of my life. Like if I go out and get fucking smashed, which I did last month, I went out, done one of those weekends where I spent a shit ton of money and don't remember doing it. But when I woke up the next day and had to drive home from Manchester, which was a 5-hour drive home, feeling sorry for myself, I was like, really reminds me why I don't do this all the time now.
Yeah.
And so like the next day I was just like, fuck it. Like I enjoyed the weekend. It was a cracking weekend. But the next weekend I went out again and I didn't drink anything and had just as much of a good weekend, but I spent 30 quid instead of 1,500. Do you know what I mean?
Dude, it's so crazy, especially going out, how much you realize you're spending. It's ridiculous to not remember your evening. Like that's probably the biggest part of it. Like, yeah, of course, have a couple beers, but the people who routinely are able to go and get blacked out and just spend, I can't wait to get black. And it's like, why? You're not even going to remember anything that's happening.
Yeah,
How
it's a horrible feeling. Like looking back at it now, like I always used to feel like I was having fun when I was doing that.
yeah.
But now I like look at the videos and I'm actually like mortified of like my behavior and the person that I became doing that shit. Because like I would be the one that was stood on top of a table pulling my trousers down, fuck you, swinging my arsehole about and laughing and screaming and dancing everywhere. Do you know what I mean? Like
How
that was
did
me.
how did your friends deal with that?
I loved it because it was
Really?
me that would look like a dickhead instead.
Oh my god. And it apparently it wouldn't get you kicked out of too many places.
Nah, not
Maybe?
in London. Nah,
Okay, that's
not
fair.
really.
Okay, wait.
Occasionally, but
Oh my god. Okay, so wait, take me back to the first month that you're sober. How are you yes, you dive more into work, but how are you feeling these feelings? How are you dealing with all this shit that's starting to come up? Because I think that's the
so
hardest part, like especially for myself. Like I'm still struggling to cut weed out because that's the exact feeling. After a few days, you
yeah.
have like all that shit that's in there and you're like, I would just rather not. Like I've intellectualized this. I know why I'm feeling what I'm feeling. Now let's just escape these feelings. How did you do that?
I was talking a lot with like family and friends. Like when I was in a position to do so, a lot of the time I just have a fucking meltdown. The amount of times I sat there editing videos, just dripping tears over my keyboard was like fucking mental. Um, but like I needed to get out my system, right?
And what was coming up in those moments, if you have any specificity?
Um, so this was not long after we'd had the whole thing. Like I'd been blackmailed, doxxed, death threats. Like I'd been through all of it. This was like with this pedophile. And so like I'd obviously gone through finding out all of that and how like dangerous the people was that he were associated with as well. Which pretty much left me fucking shook as well. So like it was like I was dealing with all of that, but now sober too.
Yeah.
Plus like losing my granddad the year before, and it was like coming up on a year of him being, was it a year? Yeah, a year of him being dead. Which was like awful. So I think like there was a lot of like just pent up emotion around that and like how much of a shit person I'd been as someone who was drinking every day, and like the relationships that I'd like cut myself away from just because it was like not nice to be in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a bunch of just awful emotions and like awful things that had happened to me over like the last year specifically that I was trying to walk away from. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was not easy.
Yeah.
I
No.
think like the sobriety aspect of it allow you to process that in a more healthy way. Like I used to be one of those people that like I wouldn't cry. Like I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Like wasn't a bit of me. After my granddad died, that changed quite a lot, and I was like able to do that. And like it even got to a point where like it's weird things, and I actually cry at weird shit now, and I'm like, what's this? Like if ever I'm feeling like a little bit emotional or I've had a bad day, I'll be watching like some random film, and then I'm like, this is really good film. What the fuck? You know what I mean? It's still quite rare, but I
Yeah.
catch myself like my eyes are watering now, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, um, and things like that. Like, I'm kind of a lot more like I don't try and hide how I'm feeling anymore. Like
Yeah.
before, I'd be like stone cold all the time.
Was that learned or was that observed? Like, were you taught to not show emotion, or was it something that you saw from others and decided to adopt?
I was bullied a lot as a kid, to the point where I moved schools,
Oh wow.
and like hated anything to do with like change because like which is it's mad if you was to like if anyone in this industry knew what I was like fucking 15 years ago, or like not even 15, 12, 10 years ago, yeah, like 10 years ago when I started like our version of high school. Like for the first 2 years I fucking locked myself in a classroom and basically just cried.
Really?
I hated it. Yeah, I was bullied like for most of my like younger life. And so it kind of got to a point like I don't know, I hit a switch when I got like a hit about 12 or 13, and I was like, fuck it, you just got to get used to it. I was like, no one else is going to help you out of the shit. You've got to be the one that helps yourself. So just switch it all off and get on with it. And that's what I did. And that's what I've done ever since. And it's only in like the last year now that I'm 22 that I was a bit like, maybe I should like sort that out because that's
Yeah.
actually unhealthy as fuck. And that's why, you cope with drugs, drink, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you say no one's going to help you out. Do you, if you don't mind me asking, what were you able to bring these things to your parents? Was there,
Yeah,
how did
but
that
like
go?
my my dad has always had a problem with booze as well. So from like a young age, I kind of observed that behavior of like, oh, shit's going on, drink.
Yeah.
Um, and like my mum she's lovely and she'll sit there and she'll talk with you and like so will my dad to be fair, but they're not like proactive people. They'll sit there and talk about problems, but they won't solve problems.
I see.
And I'm very much now in my life like I know it's fucked, and the best way I can explain it is like I'm not very sympathetic. So when somebody says to me like my hamster died, I'll be like, buy a new hamster. Like I'll give you a solution. I won't sit there and like mollycoddle you. And I
Yeah.
know that's fucked, and some people really disagree with that, but that's my way of dealing with things.
Yeah.
As like mad as that sounds. And so like for me, I needed like the part of my brain that like dealt with things needed a solution to things. It didn't need
Yeah.
it's going to be okay. It needed like like this is my actual problem. How do I fix that?
So then
And
if,
like
keep going, sorry.
but like your parents don't really give you that. They're just like it's okay. Like you know we'll sort that. And I'm like, how are you gonna sort that? And it's like we'll just sort that. And I'm like, fuck that. I'm like I'm sorting this shit. Like I don't know. I just became like took control of the reins and just fucking ran with it, right?
So then how does that work for you if your hamster dies and you're trying to get like that? Do you not go to others for that comfort? Are you relatively independent in that way?
Yeah, for the most
Like,
part.
how do you give that love to yourself?
I don't. I just find a solution.
Okay, that's fair.
Like if I'm sad, I paint.
Really?
Like yeah, that's my answer. Like my outlet is art.
It's
And
action
is
in a
the
way.
gym. Yeah, it's just action. Like I don't like there are times like I'm not gonna sit there and say I'm completely like that all the time. There are times where like sometimes I'll sit there and bitch and moan, but more mine isn't normally out of like sadness, it's more out of frustration because I think out loud when things are happening. So when like a problem comes up, like with one of the companies or with streaming or stuff, I'll sit there and I'll shout at Pud and I'll be like, right, what the fuck do I need to do here? And he just sits there and listens. He never says anything. But
Yeah.
it's like eventually I just talk myself in a circle and I'm like, wait, why did I not think of this at the start?
Yeah.
And then I've got my solution and I feel better about myself.
That's so interesting. Because yeah, I feel like so many of us, and that's how I've tried to start. My ex has kind of opened my eyes to like not really giving advice to people anymore, because most of the times if you actually are really listening to people, so much of the time people are already saying what they know to be true for themselves and what they actually have to do. It's just the act of actually doing it. And that's really interesting.
Most people know the solution to their thing, but they either need to hear it or they need to think it's their own idea. I'm one of those people that needs to think that whatever it is that I'm doing is my own idea. And so
Really?
you might say something to me and I'll be like, nah. And then like a week later, I'll be like thinking about saying it and I'll think of it. And it's probably already a subconscious thought in my mind. I'll be like, fuck, that's a really good idea. I'm going to do that. And you're like, I said that to you a week ago. I'm like, no, you didn't. What?
No, that was my idea. I thought of it.
Yeah,
I told
like,
myself
what the fuck
that.
are you going on about? But like my memory's shot to bits as well from like the sheer amount of alcohol that I drank.
Yeah.
So like short term is horrendous. Like,
Really?
I'll have like a conversation with you one week and then like you'll ring me and you'll be like, did you do that thing from the other day? I'm like, did I write it down? And you're like, I don't know. And I'm like, no.
I mean, that's also ADHD as well.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
but it has been significantly amplified in the last couple of years. So
that's so
it's weird to see.
Dude, holy hell. And I love how this all started on platforms and we never even like continued. Yeah. Okay. So you're a Facebook partner. You're starting to make some more money and that it starts to go downhill. What are you doing in that moment?
I'd made so much in like such a short space of time that I was quite comfortable.
Yeah.
Like I'd paid off any bills that I had, like in terms of like debt or anything like that. And I had like, I think about 60 grand in my account at the time.
Dude, good for you.
Which was like a fuck ton of money. I was like 20.
Yeah. How old are you now?
Sick. 22.
Jesus, I thought you were older. Okay, continue.
No. And I was like, fuck it, like I'm going to invest that in companies and make an asset. So obviously we started Suck It and like done like I invested some money into Thing to make that work. And then I invested in people around me as well. Like liquid wise, I don't have like as much as I would love to have. Like, you know, liquid cash isn't really important to me. I don't care about sitting there fucking flexing Gucci stuff or anything like that. It's not a bit of me. Like asset wise, like I've got obviously companies, other things as well. And I kind of just run it all through that now. So like the money started dropping, but like my portfolio was building.
Nice.
So I didn't really care. It was like, fuck it. Like I make next to like streaming now, like streaming itself, I think I make like, I don't know, $200 a month, but it's like I stream for the community aspect.
Yeah.
The videos were still doing okay, so I didn't really worry. And the videos still do okay now, and that ticks by and it pays staff, and then I'll just kind of do other things. I don't know. I don't really understand how to make money anymore. There's just so many different places that it comes in from that I'm like, I don't really need to. If one of them's doing bad, I've got like 6 or 7 other revenue streams, so it's not too bad.
That's beautiful. And was that something that you've always wanted?
No.
Really?
It's fucking stressful. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's a different type of stress. Like I don't have to stress and worry about where the next bit of money is coming from. Like I do to an extent because like I have a lot of outgoings with the amount of staff and like contractors and things like that. But like I know there's always going to be like money coming in for the most part, so I'm not like that phased. But it's now like the stress of keeping all of those running smoothly.
Yeah. So how do you do that? What's like, take me through a typical week for you.
A lot of fucking meetings at the moment, which is awful. So like I've recently obviously changed all my schedule about. So like before, I was streaming, like I used to just stream COD, and then like I went to COD and doing like some gambling stuff. And that was like 2 streams a day at completely separate times. So I'd be like, I'd wake up at 9 o'clock or like 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, whatever time my first meeting was, or whatever time I felt like I needed to get up, because obviously like staff come in at 9 and things like that. So like I try and be awake for them most of the time. Go through, I'd normally do like the Call of Duty editing, all the other videos that get edited by other people. And then like I'd come up with content ideas, take any meetings that I had to do. Obviously like dealing with basically expanding like the sales marketing and things like that for the other companies as well, and working on those, looking back into the back end side of things to see if there's any way we can optimize the companies themselves. Things like that, like just constant like CEO shit.
Yeah.
Which you don't really realize is actually a thing until you're doing it and you're like, fuck, this is actually quite a lot of work. And then I'd go live at 4 and I'd stream for like 3 hours, depending on how much I wanted to fucking scream at the game that day.
Fair.
And then I would get off, I would go to the gym, and I'd do like 2 to 3 hours in the gym. Always try and get like a sauna in after and a little swim. And then I'd come back, I'd have like an hour to chill, have some food. I don't really eat until later in the day. Like that's probably my biggest problem, is how weird my diet is. But then I'd eat like after the gym, and then I'd go live at like 11 on the second channel until like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and then wake up and do it all again.
So you get 6 hours of sleep, 5, 6 hours of sleep?
Yeah. That's like a lot for me. 6 is like a lot of sleep for me. I normally function on like 4 or 5.
You're one of those.
I am, yeah, I'm one of those.
That's so frustrating. I hate people like you. Granted, I think as I noticed that when I do smoke less in the evenings, or when I have my little bouts of when I'm not smoking, I can be similar. I'm like 6, 7 hours and I'm up, but never in my life have I been the 4 or 5 hour. That's fucking insane.
Like when I was younger and I used to work like a normal job, we'd be out like partying every weekend and stuff, and I'd still be working 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And I'd be out till like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, get up at 6, 7 o'clock and go work.
Jeez, you were really a good alcoholic.
I functioned well.
Oh my gosh.
That was like before I'd even consider anything like an alcohol problem. That was just like heavy partying, because like I didn't really drink during the week.
Okay, like, so there's a distinguishing factor between those 2 little moments.
Yeah,
you'd say.
This was like when I was like 17, 18.
Oh, okay.
Like, we're talking like just average sort of like young party animal.
Now,
I just always dealt with the booze.
And finding out your age has brought this into more context, because as you're saying like 12, I'm like, oh, like 15 years ago, and when you're like, no, like literally 10. It's like, Jesus, I didn't realize you were 8 years younger than me. Jesus Christ, dude. So your relationship with streaming is, how often are you streaming these days? Are you still every day?
Like 6 times, like 6 times a week, 5 or 6 times a week. I actually stream more now than I did like this time last year.
And what are you most excited about with your stream?
The community aspect now, because like what the problem is with Call of Duty is I really found it hard to foster a community around COD when like I was constantly getting allegations of being a cheater. I was getting all of this shit, and most of my views came from videos as well. Like I didn't make a career from streaming, I made a career from videos. That's where my following came from. That's where like my revenue came from. So I streamed basically to get videos, and I always optimized my streams for a video perspective.
Nice.
Like the way the cameras were set up, the way the alerts were set up, the way the audio tracks were set up, it was always optimized for videos. So it was never like, when I had found out how much money I could make from videos, it was kind of took more of that approach, especially since the streams blew up from the videos. But a lot of people would come in and they'd ask me like loadout questions and stuff. So like I kind of lost the passion for like streaming itself, and I just found passion for like creating content as a whole.
Yeah.
And so like I kind of just streamed until I'd get a video, like especially when the game was bad. Like if the game was arse, I'd stream, I'd make sure I had a video in my head out of that stream, and then I'd fuck off and just finish the stream.
And were you thinking of these video ideas? Are you one that creates a list? Are you one that like before you go live, you're like, oh, that sounds nice? Or what's your content creation
When I
journey?
was heavily passionate about like Call of Duty content, I would film a lot of stuff off stream as well. But like I had like, I mean, I can show you like books. I've got somewhere, it's not this particular one, but I've got books that are like this, right? That are filled with video ideas.
Really?
Yeah, I think I've got about 3 of them just strewn about the office somewhere. And I used to just write video ideas until that shit worked. You know what I mean? And then it would be like, if I could do it on stream, I would go out of my way to do it on stream. And that would be what the whole basis of the stream was about. If I couldn't do it on stream, then I'd just film it off stream and do it off stream.
And how are you coming up with your ideas? Are you getting inspired by, did you watch a lot of Call of Duty content? Did you just know the game well enough that you're like, oh, this would be fun?
Ironically, I hate Call of Duty content. I don't really watch anybody else.
Really?
I think because I spent so much time doing it myself,
Yeah.
It got to a point where watching other people was like, this is fucking awful.
Yeah.
And so like I used to enjoy it. Like I've literally watched like Marley 13 since I was young.
Really?
Like his OG Facebook videos, like OG YouTube videos, which were out like MW2 when I was like actually a kid. Like I watched them, and like used to love them. I remember we used to sit in the car like with my mate and we'd watch them videos. And like now we follow each other on Twitter and I've played with them and things like that. Like that's sick to me. Do you know what I mean? That was like I don't know if you've ever heard of like imposter syndrome. That was like a huge thing for me, like through all of that. And like Average Dad,
yeah,
he was the first ever streamer that I actually watched, because I wasn't like big into like streaming culture before I started streaming. We just stumbled across this random ginger don on Facebook one day, and we was watching him. And we was watching him at work, and I was like, hey, this guy's fucking jokes playing Fortnite. And I used to sub to him and like playing his Fortnite customs and stuff. And like now I've spoken to Dean on many a times, met him in person, like shit like that. Like so cool to me. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it was a strange experience. So.
And what got you into streaming in the first place?
So linking back to when I was like young and like,
okay, so like 2 years ago.
like young
fucking child.
Like from BMX, my life was BMX, right?
Okay.
I ate, sleep, rode. That was all I did. Like if I wasn't working, I was riding my bike. Throughout all of my exams, I spent the entire revision period riding bikes. Like that was all I cared about. And so when I was 18, I was working my bollocks off at my old job. And like I'd done like 6 weeks straight without a day off, doing like 12-hour days every day, because like the money was so shit. Even the overtime was shit, but it was like, fuck it, I needed the money because I wanted to be able to pay to like go on some more trips for like riding my bike. Done like 6 weeks straight, and I was like, boss, I was like, the Wednesday, yeah, I'm finishing at 6 day. I was like, I'm taking Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. This is my first weekend off in like 2 months, more or less. I was like, I want this time off. And he goes, yeah, that's fine. Like, fair play, you've earned it. So I went home that day, come back, like said hello to my mum, literally got changed, got on my bike, went straight up the skate park, threw my car keys on the bench. I was chatting to my mate. Went over a couple of ramps, and I was like, as I'm doing it, I was like, oh, I feel like really like tight, like a bit wonky, like it doesn't feel good. And I went round, and I don't know if you know anything about BMX. I've done what's called a tire slide. It doesn't look impressive. It's like it would basically be like, I don't know, you walking up a flight of stairs. It's like that natural at that point.
Okay,
like, nice. Little things that you like throw in. And I've done that, and as I've done it, I remember like my hand coming off the bars, and I looked at it and I went, I'm gonna land on my face. It's really gonna fucking hurt. And I don't know how I landed, but somehow in landing, I got my leg wrapped up in the bike, and it got wrenched so hard that I broke like multiple places in my leg. And because like hurting myself wasn't like an abnormal thing, but like the first reaction every time I'd do it was be roll over, stand up as quick as you can, and just walk it off.
Yeah.
So I rolled over and I like put my foot down, and as I put my foot down, like my ankle went like I don't know, more or less like 180 degrees the other way. And I was like, oh, this is fucked. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to drive myself to hospital for this one. But I said to my mate, he was like, you're right. I was like, no, not really. And he goes, what can I do? I was like, go to my car. I was like, there's a hoodie in my car. Get me that. And please, can you pass me my cigarettes because I desperately need a smoke. So I sat there. I've got to remember not to say the F word because we call it the F word where I'm from.
Oh yeah.
But like I know that shit gets everyone in trouble in America. So like I'm trying to say cigarettes. It feels so unnatural to me. I rolled a cigarette and I was sat there just smoking this. And he brought me the jumper over. He goes, "What do you want that for? It's middle of summer." I was like, "I need to tie my foot back to my leg because I was like, otherwise this is gonna get a lot worse." So I like stinted my foot basically to my leg, and then was like saw if I like tried getting up, and basically it just couldn't because like if you've ever unattached basically part of your body, it's actually really fucking heavy. And so
Yeah.
having like a whole foot separated from your body is quite heavy and doesn't feel good when it's like not attached. So I rang my mum up and was like, "Can you take me to hospital, please?" I was like, "I've broken my ankle." And she was like, "I swear you did that like 2 months ago." I was like, "No." I was like, "Last time you had to take me to hospital, I'd broken my foot." But I was like, "This time it's actually fucked." And she was like, "Fine, whatever." She rocks up like 20 minutes later, parks like 50 meters down the road and just bibs me.
Yeah.
And I'm just sat on the floor and I'm like, "Will you help me, please?" And she came over and she was like, "It can't be that fucking bad." I'm like, "Mandy, look at my foot." And she went,
Did
"Oh,
you
shit."
first name her?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I was like, "Look at my foot." And she goes, "Oh." And I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "How are we getting to the car?" I was like, "I'm going to have to like sit on my bike and like wheel myself over." But like the long story short was like, I completely fucked my leg up. And they was like, "Oh my God, you're never going to be able to like run or ride a bike or like that shit again." Like it was bad. Like I've got like metalwork all up my leg and stuff now and still have a lot of problems with it. And I was like, okay, well, that's my life over then. Went through like a very dark period. And I think that was like around then was really when like I started to use alcohol a little bit more.
Yeah.
As like regularly and on my own. Um, but I went back to work after 3 months. Like I spent 3 months literally just sat in bed, not being able to do fuck all. Like re-taught myself how to walk because I basically had to relearn how to walk from scratch again.
Really?
And yeah, it was awful. Like it was like knackered, mate. Like my ankle was like a completely different shape to the other one, and like my legs all pissed and stuff. It's so strange. It's fascinating. I do find it quite interesting, but yeah, it's like the long term effects of
Holy
it have been
shit.
horrible.
How did
But I
running your
basically just
marathon go with that?
easier than expected.
Just because you
I didn't.
trained for it?
Yeah, pretty much. I limped for about 3 years up until like literally going sober was like a huge turning point in my life because up until that point, like I was limping, like ever since I broke my leg, and that was like 3 years. And then going sober, like obviously, if you cut out the amount of beer that I was drinking, you lose a lot of weight straight away because just how many empty calories you was consuming every day. And my life at that point in time was like energy drinks, Monster, and chocolate, and that was basically what I lived off of. And I the cut out the beer and the chocolate and kind of ate a little bit more normal. When I say a little bit more normal, I still mean like shit, but it wasn't just chocolate and beer.
Yeah.
And I lost like a stone in like the first month, like which is like how many? I don't know how many kilos that
I've
is.
never figured out the conversion from stone to anything.
I was like 120 kilos at the time.
Okay.
And I guess it's about 5 kilos if I had to guess. Wait, how much have I lost now? I've lost 4.5 stone now, which is 30-ish kilos. So I don't know. I lost 1
It's
stone.
like, yeah, like
so,
5 pounds or 5 kilos of stone,
yeah,
maybe?
yeah,
5
like
to 6?
probably like 5. Yeah, probably like 5 kilos, 5, 6 kilos. I lost like 5, 6 kilos in the first month, just obviously through like water weight mostly.
Yeah.
And then was filming a series at the time of playing Warzone in weird places. I'd done it on like a beach and shit.
Nice.
I thought it'd be funny to try and do it on a treadmill and see if I could do it while I was on a treadmill. I actually won a game on the treadmill, and I was like, said to my mate at the time, I was like, "Yo, I reckon I could do a marathon while doing this." He was like, you realize you've been sober for like a month and you're coming out with all this sort of shit already. I was like, yeah, fuck it. I was like, I think I could do it. I rang Put Up and he was like, why have you woken me up to ask me this? Because it was like 11 o'clock at night. I was like, I don't know. I just think I could do it. And he goes, not fucking chance, mate. Give it a rest. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm going to do it. So I went on Google that night. Like, couldn't sleep the rest of that night now. I went on Google and I like looked at training plans, like 16-week training plans. Like there was like a Nike one that said they could train you for a marathon in 16 weeks. I was like, fuck it, that'll do. So I'd done that, set the date as April 25th, which was about like 60. I think it was 20 weeks actually. I was like, that was like 20 weeks from the date. I was like, that's the day I'm going to do it. I was like, if I don't do it by then, I was like, I'm a failure and I hate myself. So I've just got to do it. And so like, I used to love running when I was younger, but obviously like at this point, like I was still limping, like very overweight.
And what time is this again? This is last year?
This is
December.
No? This is December, like end of 2021. This is like December 2021.
Okay.
So I basically gave myself like 4 months to train for it. And I was like, yeah, I think I can do that. Fuck it. So I was like, start of January. I was like, I'm going to try and run a marathon. I was like, realistically, I'm going to walk it because I've not trained.
Yeah.
So I was like, to make it more interesting, I was like, I think I can walk 26 miles. Like, that shit's actually hard.
Yeah.
And I was like, so I'll change shoes every two miles and make a funny video out of it. And I did. And I tried it on a beach in January in England. It was like 2 degrees all day and pissing out of rain. It was the most miserable day of my life. It's horrible. And I let them decide what shoes I wore. And on the second set, on like miles 3 and 4, they gave me cowboy boots.
Dude.
And so I had the worst blisters that I've ever had in my life. And I got 16.5 miles in, but I've got arthritis in my hands, like anyway. And my hands just seized up and I couldn't move my hands because that cold. And I was like, I think we should go home. And then I've never been more motivated for anything in my life after that. I was like, if I can't even do like 26 miles walking and I was 10 miles shy, I was like, I'm going to train my fucking bollocks off. So every day I ran twice a day. I fucking threw myself into it. Ate decent-ish and like had never been more motivated in my life. And then by the time the actual marathon came around, I pissed it. So it didn't really matter.
What does pissed it mean? You did
easy.
great?
Like, I nice. It. Yeah.
What the fuck? That's ridiculous.
So I love shit like that though. Like if I fuck something up, then I'll make sure I go back and train even harder to be able to do it properly. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, yeah. Do you have any ambition of doing that in the near future?
I want to do a triathlon by the end.
Really?
Of the year.
By the end of the year?
The boxing match. Yeah.
Jesus.
So, because I got asked, like I got asked if I would box, and I was like, I just said yeah because I thought they was joking. And then they was like, okay, if we find an opportunity, like, would you say yes? I was like, yeah, fuck it. And I was like, there's no way they're gonna fucking find an opportunity. And then I was like, oh, there's one on the 27th of May. Do you want to do it? I was like, I have no excuse not to. I was like, fine, yeah. But I also have something going on in June, which is currently under embargo, so I can't really say anything. But like, I want to be in good shape for it. So I was like, it gives me something to train for that will keep me in good shape before that. So I was like, yeah, fuck it. And I was like, have you ever boxed before? I was like, nah. And they was like, how are you going to train? I was like, I don't know. I'll watch YouTube videos and like see if anyone that I know boxes and just like chat with them. That's basically what I'm doing. But like, if I showed you like a video like of like recently training compared to like when I first started like 3 weeks ago, like the difference is insane. Like,
you've only been training for 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Do you know who your opponent is?
No, not really. They told me his name's Tommy. That's all I really need to know. But, like, it's for charity for me. Like, I'm raising money for National Autistic Society in the UK.
Nice.
Like, so like that's more my thing. And if I lose the fight, then it will motivate me to train harder for whenever I say yes to the next one.
Dude, that's insane. You go
if
balls.
I can train for a marathon in 4 months and a fight in 2 months doesn't seem that bad.
Have you always, because one part of me feels as though you are well, I'll ask you, are you if you tell me I can't do something, fuck you, I'm going to do it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Is there any limit to that?
No.
To an extent.
Like, obviously, as long as it's like if it's about bettering myself, then no. Like, if you said to me, I don't think you'd be able to climb Everest by the end of this year, I'd find the next opportunity to climb Everest and I would do it.
Have you always been like this?
Yeah, because when I was like, not always, not as like a younger, like, as I said, when I was younger, I was just bullied all the time.
Yeah.
And so it was like, I was like very submissive. It was like, if someone said I couldn't do something, I'm like, fine. And then obviously as I say, like something just snapped after a couple of years of being in like high school. And I was like, nah, fuck it. I was like, I own my life. Like, why not just do what the fuck I want with it, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously like that led down like this really rebellious stage where it was like you shouldn't smoke. So I'm like picked up the first pack of cigarettes that I found, and that was like it. Started smoking after that, and then obviously like chemical imbalances and you get addicted to nicotine. What do you do? But
Yeah.
along that sort of lines, like it started as like rebellion and then just turned into like I'm better than rebellion. I just want to prove that I'm the best that I can possibly be at all times. Like it's not about competing against anyone else. It's about making sure that I'm better every single day.
That's so interesting. So there is that. So is there a moment when that external then just becomes you versus you? Because obviously if you're saying fuck you to everyone else, like I'm going to do what I want to do, and someone else is saying you suck at that thing, it's pretty easy just to go fuck you, I don't care, I'm going to do what I want. But it also seems like there's a bit of that gets in your mind, and then your own mind then battles your own mind and just says fuck you to that person. Is that?
Yeah, I think so. Like when I first started streaming, like I was working in an environment with like significantly older people. Like the people that I worked with were all like 40, 50, and I was 18 at the time.
Yeah.
It was just because that was the job that I'd settled in at the time. And I remember like I was getting like random pieces of like PC equipment, like monitors delivered to work because I wasn't at home to get them. And they'd be like, "What the fuck have you ordered now? Like, you're gonna go home and stream, like, blah blah, be fucking weirdo." And I was like, "Yeah, whatever." Like, it was told that I'd never be able to make it and stuff. And I remember when I went in there and told them, gave them the letter of resignation for my mate who worked with them to come and work with me. Like their faces were just dropped.
When was that?
That was last year. So that was like 2 years since me doing it. I rang him up one day. I'd had a really good month, and I was like, this month has been so good that I can cover your wages for the next year. I was like, will you take the risk? And he goes, write me a letter of resignation and bring it into work now. I was like, bet. So I took it in and just gave it to him.
That's
fucking
so
beautiful,
sick,
mate.
dude. What did that feel like? Like what was that?
Liberating. Like
Yeah.
it was beautiful because it was like not only is this affecting like my life directly now, I was like, I've taken my life and taken it from a point in my life where I have achieved like my own shit and was doing my own thing, which was cool. But like it wasn't really benefiting other people directly. Like people got benefit from like the content I was making and stuff, but like no one else was getting a career out of it.
Yeah.
I gave someone the opportunity to have a career, to not just like work in the same shit every single day, to like be able to even though I'm a boss, like I'm a manager, whatever, like I don't sit there and breathe down someone's neck like for any of my stuff. Like
Yeah.
I don't deal with most of the other ones for the other companies. Like I try and palm that off.
As you should.
Yeah, but like for like Halford Sucks as a business, like I deal with the people directly. And like this is one that needs to be the absolute best that it can possibly be. And everyone that works like with me or for me doing this, like I don't know, I want them to have an opportunity for a career, right?
Yeah.
And so it's a good feeling, especially when it's your best mate.
How long have you guys been friends?
Uh, like 5 or 6 years.
Dude, fuck yeah.
So like not like overly long, but he's like when I say Pud, that's who I'm referencing.
Okay, nice.
So I realized that not everyone knows who Pud is. So, but when I say Pud, that's who I'm referencing. And we work together. And obviously, I've known him since I started working like over in that place, and I've done a series of other jobs before that over there. So yeah, I think I've known him since I was like 15 or 16. But he's like 10 or 12 years older than me.
Oh
It's just
shit,
cool
nice.
to see that like he's got like a wife and kids and took that risk with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is like mad. I don't know why you trust me.
I mean, dude, his wife was probably feeling some type of way about you for a little bit of like, I don't know if I love him or hate him just yet, but it seems like it's worked out to the point where
he makes more money working with me than he did over there. I let him pick and choose his hours. Like,
nice.
If I don't give him a set amount of hours, I just say like, if you need to take a day off, take a day off. But just make sure that everything that you would have done that day is done before that. Like,
yeah. Get your shit done.
Like, yeah, like as long as you get the shit done and you know that if I need to check on you, you're not doing enough.
Nice.
As long as I don't need to check on you, you're fine.
Yeah. You are such an interesting human being because you are on one hand, you, at least based on what you've said, you're a very, how do I want to say it? There's like a very, very nurturing, caring with all the things you do for charity and the amount of love you have for people, but there's also the like fuck you figure it out yourself aspect of you. How do you balance those two?
I don't really. Some people come to me and they'll be like, particularly people that are close to me. I think it's so like this was one of the things that's so hard to be around me for a long time because I don't know how I'm going to react half the time. Like sometimes someone will ask me something and it'll be like a perfectly Googleable thing, and I'll go on like some 25-minute conversation with them, explaining the depths and going into every single back end detail. And then there'll be like times where they'll ask me something that I know is difficult to answer, and I'll be like, "Fuck you, figure it out." Like I just don't know. Like that shit just happens. I think
Really? So there's keep going.
most
Sorry.
people just know that I'm just. There's no way you're gonna know what comes out of my mouth. It just happens.
Just try. Just ask you the question and see what happens.
Yeah, yeah.
There's
if you haven't figured it out in an hour, ask me again, and I'll probably help you.
So there's a 50-50 shot. You're going to tell me to fuck off, or you're going to be the most helpful person I interact with all day.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
I mean, most of the time, like if I ask someone to do something, like, because obviously, like in the essence of like people working like with me or whatever.
Yeah.
Like if I'm asking them to do something, I'll explain the context of how it's done.
Yeah.
And I'll say, if you have any questions, ask me. Or if it's something completely like menial and an easy task that I'm setting them, I'll say, please don't fucking bother me with this. Like, if you actually have a problem and I'm like, you can see I'm fucking busy, Google it. Do you know what I mean?
And so was there, I mean, that's so have you always been, has that like wanting to help, wanting to be there for others in the way that you are with charities and those that you love in your life, has that always been there? And it's just kind of gotten to now in terms of how you're able to like cultivate that, or is that even newer? Like, have you always wanted to work with charities? Have you always had this wanting to help others in that regard?
Like, I think obviously like linking back to when I was young and like being the butt of like a lot of problems myself.
Yeah.
And no one like being able to help me. I was like, I don't ever want to see anyone in that situation and helpless and like feeling like they're not good enough. And it was kind of there, but I just never really had an opportunity to do anything about it.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I'm a firm believer in is like, I don't want to sit there with fucking millions or like the flashiest shit in the world. Like if I can take that money and put it towards helping other people, whether that be on like a personal basis, or whether that be on a charity basis, then 100% I will. And like money doesn't solve everything, but what I lack in sympathy and like my emotional benefit, if I can make up for it in knowledge and money, then I will.
Nice.
Like, so, you know, I guess it's like that, right?
Yeah, no, money won't solve all your problems, but it definitely will help a fucking few of them.
Yeah.
Like that's, dude, interesting.
I don't know, like I love like seeing the effects of like the effects that my hard work have had on my life, and then like being able to take that hard work and benefit other people for it as well. Do you know what I mean?
I love
like
that. Yeah.
It's art, but like living art. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's more of a reward, like, you know, internally that you're doing the good things for you, but then there's also, we'd all be lying if we didn't get good feelings from external validation and rewards as well. So like, if you can feel both.
The gratification of doing it is a beautiful feeling, right? As like sick and arrogant as it might seem, like it fucking is. Like, you know, it doesn't.
Like that's why like it's like there's a bit on Friends about like there's no selfless good deed, because you also end up getting the good feeling from doing whatever it is. Like even if you donate $10 to someone and you're like, no, it's just out of the goodness of your heart. True, but you're also getting good feelings from that.
Yeah, of course you are. But it's the same with everything, right? Like it doesn't matter what you do. There's either going to be a good or a bad emotion that comes from that. Like it's so hard to do anything and be completely passive about.
Yeah.
Like completely emotionless about it, right? So I think like for me, like the huge selling point in terms of like a charity aspect was like even within my first month of streaming, I'd done my first charity stream. Like I'd done a 24-hour stream for like cancer research. And like that was cool. I fucking hated streaming for 24 hours.
Oh, dude, it's miserable. It's miserable, but it's like, fun sometimes.
Whenever anyone says it to me and they're like, will you help me? I'm like, no.
I'll help you by telling you not to do it.
Yeah, I'll show up for like an hour. That's the best you're getting from me. But after like a year and a half, I don't know if you would have ever seen this when I'd done it. I raised money, like basically I'll give you the shorter story because I'm aware that I waffle.
Dude, take the time. I don't care.
Basically, we ended up crowdfunding like some money for a young lad who I invited on for some games, and he had just beat cancer, or had just been discharged from hospital for cancer. So he crowdfunded some money. I was going to just buy him like a PlayStation or Xbox or something, and like try and make his day while he jumped on, so I could surprise him. But they were impossible to get hold of at the time. So I was like, fuck it, we'll just get him a PC. And so I mentioned it on stream, and everyone was like, yo, can we donate towards this? And I was like, okay, fine. So I made like a GoFundMe. I think we raised like 2.5 grand. A couple of other creators chipped in, and then I put like 2.5 grand in of my own money. We bought him like a full gaming setup, monitors, mic, headset, PC, desk, chair, and then I organized with his mum, and we showed up at his house one day and like hid inside of his house when his mum brought him back in, and we was live streaming it. And like there was thousands of people that came into the live stream to turn up just to like see the difference that we'd made, and like seeing his face when like not only when it was just me stood there, like his face like lit up when like we were stood there, and like that I was like, fuck, how can someone be that fond of having some weirdo that looks like Austin Powers in their living room? And then like when we walk around the corner and I'm like, oh, by the way, we've bought you like all of this and we're gonna help you set up today. Like the smile on his face and the effect that I know that had on his life, like I still speak to them to this day, and this was like 2 years ago now.
Nice.
And get like regular updates. He's been around to my house, and we've done streams with him at my house now. Like he's like a very young lad. I think he's just about to turn 13, or will turn 13 this year. And like at the time, I'd been through like a world of shit, and I was like, knowing that we can do that to somebody's life and have that beautiful an effect on their life, and like just through like rallying random strangers on the internet together is fucking insane. Like, why would you not want to do that? Do you know what I mean?
It's one of the best parts.
Yeah, and it was like, I've got all of these people that sit here and follow me, like, and they're sending me money, but I don't really need their money, or like I don't really want their money. Like, so I just started using it to fund charity ventures or like donate. Like, I'm not going to sit there and say that every donation has ever gone to charity, because it hasn't.
Oh yeah.
I've never said where the money goes, but like a lot of the charity stuff that we do, like logistically, needs a fair amount of funding. Do you know what I mean? And so like basically a good portion of donations, especially for like the last year, has all funded like the logistical aspect of that. So
dude, that's so sick. When did you start realizing that that's where you wanted to put that money? Was it just when you had these other businesses that were doing well enough and you're like, I don't need this?
I was just so comfortable from the ad rev that it was like, I don't really need to like worry about other people. And like, obviously with the way the world has been in the last year, particularly in the UK, and particularly this year and the last 6 months in the UK, with like the cost of living just going through the roof and being horrendous now. Like, I'm not going to name names, and this is probably a controversial thing to bring up, but I've seen like, this is just like my hate for the industry. One of my huge pet peeves is watching, like, I've seen creators sit there who have got like hundreds of subs and are making good money, and they're sitting there telling like their viewers, who are very average working Joe people, that are making significantly less money than them, and they're saying that they can't afford to like heat their house and do things like this. And I'm like, shut the fuck up, stop lying. You're literally taking from money from people who earn less than you, who also can't afford to heat their house.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's so fucked and immoral, but no one calls that shit out, and I think it's wrong.
Interesting. What do you see is wrong? I mean, here's the thing. I will, if there is the hypocrisy of you still being able to live your most authentic life, and you're not like, yes, you're making less, because I'm in that situation where I'm making less. I have never had less money in my savings in everything than when I started streaming. Like it's the worst it's ever been. And it's like, I'll acknowledge that, but also I'm not going to sit here and be like, please don't, please, blah, 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 blah. Like that's not, I hate when there is the asking for it. Like my whole belief has been like, I want to entertain you and provide such value from this that end goal is to be where you're at. And literally I can donate every single donation and all of that. I'm still at the point where I fucking have to make a living off of those donations and subs and shit. But at some point, and it's going to be this year, because that's what's going to happen. That's what we're willing towards. It'll be to the point where sponsors or other shit is where I'm able to get all my money from, and I don't have to be dependent on that. So that can go to somewhere else. But they're like, when people make it about, I don't know, it's such a tricky thing.
It's a hard thing to navigate, and I think it's harder for you as well, because you're like, like from your perspective, I've always been quite isolated from the other streamers in like pretty much any part of the community because
Yeah.
I've always been on my own path. So I'll quite happily sit here and just be like as brutally honest about it.
Oh,
But
I love it.
understand
That's
a lot
why.
of people,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't like putting themselves in that position because there'll be dozens of other creators that disagree, big or small.
Yeah.
But like I've just seen so many creators like sit there and take content ideas from others, profit off of that, and then sit like, which I don't agree with in the first place. Like,
Oh yeah.
like
The original.
fine, like yeah, like fine, like take inspiration, but like I've had like titles and exact ideas and things like copied word for word, and I've done it. Other people have done it. Everyone does it at some point in their life, but when that is every part of your content,
Yeah.
it's fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
Because you're not a creator at this point, you're a copier.
Yeah.
But also like I've even when I started streaming, I didn't stream for money. I streamed for fun.
Yeah.
Like as I said, I quit my job making $400 a month, which over here is like, it was like 250 quid.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't even pay for like the monthly payments on my car. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
it doesn't give you anything.
I took a risk, and then like obviously I started realizing how much money videos can make, and I geared my revenue towards that. If I can take it off of a corporate conglomerate as opposed to
people
carry down the road, like fucking hell, yeah, I'm gonna do that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I have like no disrespect for people who make streaming their like main source of revenue. Like more power to you, because I couldn't actually do that. But it's when you sit there and stream, and you streaming as an outlet to funnel money and beg for it.
Yeah.
But I think there is a huge caveat to using streaming as your own revenue. Like I get it's your job, but at what point do you go from being a streamer who is there to provide entertainment for the same people daily to being a busker? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, well, for me, it's the added value. Like it's what you're, I guess in a way, there's like an energy you put towards it. Like, I feel like you can totally tell the people who are there, who also happen to be doing it for a living, who are like, send me money, versus the people who are like, again, doing it because it's what you enjoy. And yeah, you do it for a living. And then the money just happens. Like there's a certain energy that you have to go into it with.
100%. Like I can tell, like when I've been like doing well on stream, like in terms of entertainment wise, because I've never I'll hold my hands up and say I've done like star challenges and stuff. And I think there's like things to that where like even sometimes I don't agree with that when people are doing it like every single day and like not doing anything special with it. They're just like, oh my god, send me 500 stars, I'll shoot my gun once, and then that's who you're getting. I'll be like, thanks for 500, bang, anyway, I'm off to sweat again. Like things like that, like provide value with it. Like I done it a while back, and we done like hot sauce roulette. It was like
nice.
Like I had a hot sauce wheel. Like if you donate a certain amount, I'd spin the wheel, and like either my head would get set on fire, or I wouldn't wouldn't be too bad. But either way, as well, every time I lost the game, I would go up a level of hot sauce. So regardless of whether people was donating or not, I was still fucking sitting there eating unholy amounts of hot sauce.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think like splicing it into content in a way that's beneficial to everyone, where people are getting something like for their money, or they just do it out of the love of their own heart because they enjoy your content, is very different to sitting there and being like guilt tripping people into something.
Dude, that's one of the things, the guilt tripping aspect. The random times, thank God I've curated my Twitter to the point where I don't see a lot of it, but every once in a while, one of those streamer news outlets or whatever will post someone of just like, I give you free entertainment for all this time and you don't have $5. It's like, fuck you. Go and do something else.
Even like, you know what? I actually have more
else.
respect for those people than the ones that sit there and try and do it subtly.
Really?
Like, yeah, because like if you're gonna be fucking blasé about it and people still want to watch, then fair play. They're just mental.
What's subtle? What's your interpretation of subtle?
Subtle is sitting there when you've got like thousands of followers and hundreds of subs and still making like good money every stream, and just sitting there saying like, oh, I've got this problem, I've got that problem.
Yeah. Like, okay.
Like, brother, that shit makes me want to fucking flying headbutt you.
Well, you're like, also a man of action. You're also you're also a man of action. So you're hearing someone not taking action on something, and you're just like fucking either, and that makes more sense as to why you're like, just be honest and say fucking send me money, Like, don't be in the middle. Like, decide either way. Like, either you're not going to bring anything up, or you're literally going to start your stream off with $75.
Yeah, but like that's the thing. Like, if you're genuinely sat there, right, and as a full-time creator, I know that shit is hard and it fluctuates every month. Like, I've had months where like I've sat there and literally physically didn't know what to do with the money. I was like, "There's so much money here," and then I've had months where I'm like,
"Where'd it go?"
Fuck. I'm like, how has it changed that much? Like, what's happened? Like, that shit is terrifying. But if you're making the leap into being a full-time creator, A, you need to be clever with your money, and you need to not spunk it on the newest PC stuff all the time, or not spunk it on going on nights out all the time, because this industry is fucked. And when you're at a small to mid-level like size, you don't know if you're going to make the same money every month. You could say one thing and burn your career away.
Yeah.
Because cancel culture is so rife and anyone will look for any opportunity to fucking absolutely shit on your career.
Yep.
And so you need to take that into account for starters. And I, as you can tell, have a very big mouth and never know what's going to come out of it next.
That's why you're just like, I'll be the CEO. Careful. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's like, but you also like platform issues and things like that. There's so many various things that can weigh into your thing. Like, if you have to live from like paycheck to paycheck, I hate to break it to most creators, you probably shouldn't be doing it. Like, you should have something subsidizing the fact that you, because if you're working paycheck to paycheck on like $1,500 a month, right? At least you know every single month what's coming in.
Yeah.
But if a good month for you in streaming is like 5K, and a bad month for you is probably 500.
Yeah.
Like it can fluctuate by that much. Like, at least in my books, like I've had months where it has literally been like a tenth of what it was the month before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so you have to take that into account. Like, $5,000 in the creator space a month isn't a lot of money.
No.
Like, it's good enough to live off. I mean, I don't know what the cost of living is in the US. So, but like over here, it's fucking more than enough to live off of.
Yeah.
Like $5,000 a month is brilliant. It's fucking amazing money. But like, that doesn't mean that you're making that every single month.
No.
That means that it could drop to 500 or it could go up to 25. Do you know what I mean? Like, and you've got to be careful of that. And if when it comes to the winter specifically and your bills go up because of heating and you're eating more and stuff like that, in the summer, don't spend as much money.
Yeah.
Like, it's as simple as that. Like, account for these things. But, and like, this is one of the parts that I've noticed a lot more as I've expanded into business. And I had no idea about anything to do with business when I started streaming.
That was going to be one of my questions.
Neither do any other streamers.
Yeah.
You have to fucking learn it because it is a business. And if you're not willing to go out and learn about business and learn about the avenues of finance and how you have to take that into account as you do this shit, then you're not going to make a long-term career out of it.
Yeah. That's valid, dude.
It's as simple as that, because it's just as valid a business as anyone else. Just because it's new era and new money doesn't mean you don't have to treat it with no doesn't mean you can't treat it with any responsibility. Like, this shit's harder than most companies. Like, I've worked in other jobs. I own other companies. I've built and developed other softwares and other things and stuff like that. And I always put creating content day in, day out as the hardest thing that I've ever done.
Oh yeah. This is hands down the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Easily.
And so but people don't see that.
Yeah. And that's that was one of the things that I discussed. I feel like I'd be interested to see the amount of creators who go in with at least like 70% understanding of how difficult it is. Because I was like, oh dude, I'll just stream and play video games. And it's like, no, that's not what you're going to do. No, there's going to be so much more to that. And I think it's the hardest part. Like I think that's one of the main enticing things of anything in entertainment. You see someone on a TV show, you see someone on a runway in a magazine, and you're just like, oh my gosh, they just stood there and took the photo. But what you don't see is all the auditions, all the workouts, all the actual practice, everything that is going on behind the scenes. You just get to see the actual final product without realizing how much has gone into it before. And I think that's the toughest fucking part. Yeah.
Exactly that. Like, people, you could just break this down into every single aspect of it, but like, even just like the off-camera stuff for the most part, like, once you've gone live, like we touched on earlier about like where you draw the line of how many messages you respond to and things like that. Like, after like the first year and a half, it actually got too much for me, because like, I guess you probably get it as well. Like, people coming into your stream and they tell you all of their like daily problems and stuff and almost treat you like a therapist. It got to a point where that's fucking hard on you.
That's my content.
Well.
Yeah. I know.
So hard on you.
It's hard on me, but I love it. I really do.
I have
Yeah.
so much respect for you for being able to do that, because I couldn't do that. Like, especially like I had to draw the line on that when my granddad died, and I had my own fucking shit.
Yeah.
And people coming in and they were like saying to me like, "Oh, this has just happened." Oh, and I'm like, brother, I've just lost the man that meant fucking everything to me, and you're coming in and moaning that you've had a bad day because you burst a tire on your car. Please go fuck yourself. Like, I struggled with that
Yeah.
so unbelievably hard, and it got to a point where like that was kind of when I had to put the community aspect of it on a back burner, because I wasn't ready to take that like level of shit every day.
Yeah.
And not shit, because it's not shit and that's the wrong word to use, but like that level of like
It's what
emotional
yeah.
abuse, like in like a really
In a
weird
way,
roundabout way. Like, you're being bombarded. Like, I'm not a
Yeah.
therapist. I'm not equipped to deal with that. Like, how do I? And I actually had a meeting with one of the charities I work quite closely with that work particularly on veteran mental health.
Yep.
And one of the things that they said to me was like, "Do you get a lot of people coming into you and talking to you about mental health?" And I was like, "Yes." And they was like, "How do you deal with that?" And I was like, "I don't really anymore." I was like, "I'll give people an anecdote about how I can like relate something that's happened in my life to that, and that's the best I can do anymore." Like,
Yeah.
other than that, I'll say I'm sorry that you feel that way, and I really hope that we can keep you distracted and give you a laugh while you're in the stream. But like, other than that, I don't know how to deal with somebody grieving or somebody who's lost something, or like, because everyone deals with that shit so differently. Like, I
Yeah.
split up with my ex-girlfriend when I lost my granddad because she had been through grief before, and like was trying to convey to me how she grieved, and I was like, I don't need to hear how you grieved. And I split up with her over it because it was like I wasn't like equipped to listen to her shit while I had my shit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I needed my space, and I needed to deal with the grief that I was going through on my own, not with
Yeah.
direction from someone else. Do you know what I mean? And so I'll never ever try and give direction on that sort of thing, because
Yeah.
I don't think it's fair.
So how did you and how do you now navigate all of that on stream? Because that is such a big part. And I know that there's certain, like, there was controversy like 6 months ago where someone came into someone's chat and said something sad, and this creator like fucking blew up on her because he had like a rule that was like
I know exactly
whatever.
what clip
Yeah,
you're
you know,
talking about.
yeah. But yeah, how do you navigate that? Because I'm the complete opposite. I'm literally like, I cannot stand. Well, at least when I started, when certain times where I'm like legitimately like, how are you guys doing? And then some people say horrible things, very sad things. And it's like, there's certain times where I'm in a place to deal with that and I can give all of that. And then there's other times where I do have to sort of distance, not take it on, and just say, I hope you're able to deal with that. And I hope, similar to what you say, I hope we're able to provide a good distraction for you. So what was that? Yeah. What does that turn into for you?
It became quite like bare, as I say, in the COD stuff, because like the community aspect wasn't as big of a thing while I was doing Call of Duty stuff. And it's recently like reignited a lot more now that I've been building like with like the gambling aspect. A lot of people don't agree with that content. A lot of people have also never made that content or never experienced addiction or things like that as well.
Yeah.
And there are multiple ways to look at that style of content. But I know from the messages and the comments that we get how many people that shit helps.
Yeah.
And like, I've had to deal with a lot of people like offloading their problems about gambling like to me because I'm a gambling creator.
Yeah.
And like, that's like an interesting mix, because it's like it almost feels hypocritical for me to be sitting here like spinning slots while you're telling me that you had an addiction with slots, but that we're helping you with your addiction with slots.
Yeah.
Like, and so like I'm like, you know, like now, like we still get all of like the normal day problems as well. But we get a lot of stuff that's like, thank you for making this content. Like, I was in a dark place. I had pissed away money up the wall like 24/7, and I was in a horrible place. Like, all of the like very like regular stories that you hear about gambling issues and stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I'm so glad that we can help you with this. And if you ever feel like you're going to go back to it, please come. Like, we have like the resources to help you deal with that now. Like, I actually understand how to deal with that specific problem and like the facilities that are available for it. And we have like sections in our Discord for that. We have like other people in the Discord that can help you with that have been through it. And so like a lot of it is very community based. And I feel like as the community grows stronger, like the community helps deal with other people's problems more than I do.
The community helps the community. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like a huge thing. Like in our Discord today, we've had like someone ranting about like an ex and like things like that going on. I didn't even say anything, and I didn't see it until like 2 hours later, and they'd had like 10 replies to them, like all making sure that it was okay, like helping them deal with that and being like, don't fucking worry, like it's gonna be fine. And like that's like goes a long way. And it's not necessarily about like how you as a creator deal with it as much
Yeah.
as it is your community as well. But for the most part, like when it comes to a stream, because like obviously my content is about like being uplifting and being funny, and like I treat my streams very much more like a podcast nowadays, where I
Nice.
sit there, the gambling stuff is in the background, and I just sit there and make content about me and the shit that I'm talking about and like communicating with the chat. And so I just say, look, I hope that we can give you a laugh. Like, I hope that we can keep you distracted for a little while, and I hope that you can like escape whatever shit it is that you're going on, because this is the place to do it. Like, if you want to talk about it, you can talk about it with people and see if they can help you and see if there's anything that we can offer. But if you don't, and you just want to fucking be distracted and get away, because like that's what streams are for. They should be an escape. Like,
Yeah.
they should be somewhere that you can go to feel safe, whether it be to talk about the problem, whether it just be to escape all the shit that you have to do every single day.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it's there for, right?
So then how did you find the comfort in being a gambling creator while also helping or being, I don't want to say being a reason someone might gamble, but like, how do you deal with that? Yeah. What was that journey like? Was there apprehension at first, or?
Yeah, it was a weird mix, because like, so I obviously, like, you know, like Hadzi and stuff like that, like I've been friends with them for years, and I watched Hadzi go from like not creating that content but gambling all the time to creating that content and not gambling as much off stream. And it helped like him as a person, and like watched him blow up and like him do really well with it, and like we spoke about it a lot and stuff. And I was like, nah, I don't really think it's anything that I'll ever do. Like, I gamble from time to time, but like I was like, I don't ever feel like obliged to do it all the time. Like, it's actually one addiction that I've probably not suffered from.
Nice.
Yeah. But
there's always one.
Last year, like I went to presented an award show that was like to do with like gambling streamers, and even though I wasn't a fucking gambling streamer, but like I met a lot of people there, and I'd recently been like building out a second channel basically just to test things on. And somehow managed to get it to like 10,000 followers without any like nudge from my main channel, and just like built this other channel that was now fully monetized, and I could do whatever the fuck I want on.
Nice.
And I was like, fuck it. Like, we was getting like casinos come up to us and like talk to us and stuff. And like, obviously I saw like the money aspect behind it. And I was like, okay, I'll try a couple of videos and just see how it goes, because it was gambling anyway.
Yeah.
And at the same time, like, I found out that one of my really close friends that is in a lot of the videos was also actually gambling a lot himself, to the point where I actually had to bail him out of a couple of problems because of like shit that he'd got himself into.
Yeah.
So I was giving him like a scapegoat and like a reason to like a place to gamble, where we could then like make videos out of it. And it was using my money that was being funded by that channel, by the content that we was making, because we was just taking the ad rev from that channel and just gambling the ad rev, basically.
Nice.
And making more videos and then just re-gambling that ad rev.
Yeah.
And then like, for whatever reason, a lot of my core community somehow found that, even though I didn't advertise it, because I was like, as you say, apprehensive. Like, we wasn't advertising gambling or anything like that. We were just making videos of us gambling.
So you weren't streaming these. This would just be offline stuff with you and him and post up as content.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And then like, it was like, fuck it. Should we like do a stream one day? Like, yeah. So I just went live on that channel to see what happened. And we got like 15 viewers for like 2 hours. I was like, this is cool. And some of them were like people that had been watching the COD streams and like now watch these. And I was like, I don't fucking know you found me, but like, cool.
Yeah.
It wasn't called Halford Sucks. It literally just called Charlie Halford. So
nice.
I don't think it would have come up very easily if you searched it, because I had like no link. And then like they started to build, and I was doing it very sporadically, but all of a sudden they were like pulling like, they had gone from like pulling like 10 viewers, 15 viewers to like pulling like 60 to 80. And I was like, okay, this is cool. I was like, all right. And then like, even to the point where like, we were getting more donations on that channel than the other channel. And I was actively saying to people, do not fucking donate to this, because I'm literally, the money that comes on this channel is literally getting gambled to keep this content up. Do not fucking donate. Do you know how backwards that is?
Don't help, like, but not.
Yeah, like don't enable me further. Yeah. And they're like, but you're stopping us from gambling. So
yeah, like, we're a part of it in a way.
Yeah. And they was like, instead of me going in and blowing like 1,000 a week, like if I send you $20, like what's the difference? Like, I'm saving a fuck ton. Whatever you spend that money on is your decision.
I never thought about that.
You know what I mean?
So people
and
are
so
what?
Yeah, so like, and I started to become more consistent with it. and like the numbers on that channel swiftly started outperforming the numbers on my main channel. Like I'd sit at more live viewers gambling at late at night than I would playing COD that I've been doing for 3 years and built a platform of 150,000 of like, and I was like, okay, cool. And then obviously like as that was happening and I was building this beautiful community over there, like people were coming into like the COD streams and they'd be like, when's the what, like, are you live on the other channel tonight?
Nice.
And I was like, I actually would say in the gambling streams, I was like, look, can we not talk about it in the main channel? And I was like, why? And I was like, because I know not everyone agrees with this content, and I also don't want to advertise that I'm doing it because, like, if you lot have found me doing that content, you already gamble.
You were looking for it.
I don't have to worry about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, you was already gambling, and you've either stopped and now watch me, or you still gamble anyway, but I haven't encouraged you.
Yeah.
Right? And there was like, okay, fair. And so I was like, you come in, ask me if I'm live, just refer to it as a second channel. Don't say, are you gambling tonight?
Nice.
And I was like, all right, fine. And they did that. And we went that way for a long time, or like for a good few months. And like I was just falling more and more out of love with COD. And I obviously handed my partnership in. But it all took too long to happen because it should have happened like 6 months ago, really, when I wanted to do all of that shit.
Yeah.
And even then, like if it had taken like a few months, it still would have happened like soon enough that I didn't have to make a transition in the way that I have. But it got to the point where for like my fucking health and my sanity, I genuinely couldn't play COD anymore. And I was forcing myself to do it to keep that channel alive until I could figure something else out. And I was like, the problem was because the other channel had never been level up or partner or anything like that. Like it didn't have any features for stream stuff. So I put like a post out and I was like, look, at the end of the day, I was like, I have been doing gambling content for a few months now. Like I cannot bring myself to play Call of Duty anymore.
Yeah.
Like I physically cannot fucking do it. I was like, I know not everyone agrees with this content, but I also at this point, like can't justify myself anymore playing Call of Duty. I was like, from a business perspective, it doesn't make sense. From a perspective of me as an individual, it doesn't make sense. Like I fucking dread pressing that go live button and booting that game up. Like it actually makes me want to just throw my computer out the window. I can't do it. And so I put it up, I put this post out, put it all out on the line and just said, at the end of the day, like there's nothing I can do. I need to transition my content and this is how I'm going to do it until I figure something else out. And so I did. And there was a couple of people that like sent us shitty messages. And obviously there's been like, I think the thing that like most people have the issue with is that there was like obviously scandals like a while ago about like streamers using fake money.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was like a big thing about like streamers using fake money to gamble that was like provided by the casinos, and they never put any money in of themselves and never took any of that money out. But I've like kept the receipts. Like I've put screenshots in Discord and like I've deposited live on stream, like, you know, just to be as transparent as possible. Like I'll say that I've lost fuck tons of money, like is what it is. But like, you know, it's part of it, right? Is you don't gamble to fuck it. Like if you're gambling to win, you have a problem. And that's one of the things like you gamble to lose and but enjoy losing. Like, if you can enjoy losing it, it's not a problem. If you hate not winning, it's a problem.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? Like that's how I look at it, because and like obviously there's aspects of like advertising gambling and some people don't like that aspect of it. And I'm like, you know what? Fair enough.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are like, well, your audience is kids. And I'm like, no, I've never made a single child friendly stream in my life. And I can show you the statistics to tell you that 95% of my audience is older than me.
Yeah.
Like I actually don't need to worry about any of my audience being children. It's never been a worry. And then it's like, I've kept all the receipts to show that like what I'm gambling is actually my own money. Like I've proved it multiple times. If I get a deal with a casino, I will be upfront and honest about that. Like, and I'm not going to fucking try and hide it because I don't see any point. Like, if you want to gamble, you gamble. I will tell you not to, and I will be transparent about the fact that I have lost as much as I've lost.
Yeah.
And there's no reason for me to lie about that. And, you know, like at the end of the day, like if people are going to do it, I'm under the firm belief that they're going to do it anyway. And I don't think people need that kick up the arse. And a lot of people have been like, well, you don't spread a very positive message, do you? Like gambling and selling vapes. And I'm like, yeah, but like, what's the difference to me gambling and selling vapes to all of the creators that sit there and talk about crypto, which is just gambling, masters, and investment, that sit there and stream for 12 hours a day without going outside touching grass, who do actually have children audiences, while they're slamming back McDonald's and unhealthy foods day in, day out, streaming to like younger people, younger, impressionable people, versus me who sits there for like 3 hours a day, streams a bit of gambling and talks shit. And if you actually watch the streams, it's never really about the gambling. It is mostly about talking shit.
Yeah.
And then like all of the other posts that I ever do is talking about charity work, promoting like the fact that I've gone from like being fat and hating my life to being in a good position, talking about like business ownership. Like, I'm not trying to be inspirational. It's just like, if you want to talk about the way people live their life and make their content, factor everything in.
Yeah.
And factor everyone in. Don't just pick on something because you see it as a scapegoat. And like, I kind of came to the decision that I was just going to fucking do it anyway when I streamed Fortnite and lost 300 followers and was like,
Nice.
doesn't matter what transition I take from this point, someone's going to get pissed off. There are going to be people that don't agree. I'm just going to fucking go for it.
Might as well do what you want to do.
Exactly.
Yeah. At the end of the day, anything is bad in moderation. Like everything is bad.
Exactly.
It's just really what you choose to expose yourself to and how much you decide to take in from everything. Like what is, because I don't watch much gambling. I really would only see the shit that Hadzi would be fucking winning. Yeah. But what is your type of content is talking shit and just swiping or however, what goes on in the background. What is the VOD type of content that you're creating from that? Like, is that one where you go in and you're like, this is what I want to talk about? Because I assume with a certain game, you just know you're going to fucking hit and it's going to do whatever. So how do you then amplify what you're doing to then make that more interesting? Or is that what's interesting?
Like, from the VOD perspective, like the VODs are just easy because like the people that watch the VODs already know what's going on in the games. So like the games just sell itself and they're just there to watch the games. If I'm on for like a big hit, I actually just shut the fuck up and just let the game do the talking.
Nice.
Like the VODs aren't necessarily about me, they're about like the actual gambling themselves. And like we try and do like a mixture of like some of the worst fucking wins that we get, so we're not constantly painting this like positive image of it, because like it's so easy to only ever post like real highlights, which can be like naturally misleading about how gambling really is. So we try and do like a mixture, and like obviously most of them are highlights because not everyone wants to watch like a 6p win. But like I'll always try and be like, if we get like a really shit win and it's funny how shit it is, we'll make a video out of that as well.
What's a shit win for someone who doesn't understand gambling?
If the win is less than the money that it costs to get the win,
nice,
then shit. if your win is a loss, it's not a win.
Oh, okay. And those will be funny videos.
Yeah,
interesting.
So like,
okay.
Basically, like most slots have like what's called like a bonus or like a feature. So like you'll spin it and it will have like the normal game, and then like eventually like something will happen to trigger like a special version of the game, which is normally like 10 free spins, and those 10 free spins have a twist to make the game pay more.
Okay.
Right. So in those 10 free spins, like, you know, you would normally walk away with like a good amount of money because that's sort of what you play to get to. But sometimes you'll get those like 10 free spins and they'll pay like fuck all.
Nice.
And then if they pay fuck all over the course of like a 2-minute bonus, you're sitting there and you're like, I've sat through all of this and it's done nothing.
That's freaking beautiful.
And it's quite amusing. Do you know what I mean? But it's a realistic version of gambling.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, like if you can advocate for being able to, if you're going to do it, at least do it and have fun doing it.
Yeah.
Then, you know, like there's things about kids getting addicted to fucking Fortnite. Like you can get
kids addicted to anything
as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Like, so if you're an adult, I think you have the ability to make that decision yourself. But I also think that like maybe that's just my brash thought process on life and how, you know, I think people should think for themselves a little bit more. Like if you're encouraged by a man on the internet, then you probably shouldn't have access to your own wallet, but that's just me.
I mean, well, and there's also, I think people, what I seem to be seeing is people seem to have, what's the big word I'm trying to think of that I can't think of, but people are trying to relinquish their responsibility for their own kids. It's like, it's not my fault that your kid wants to play Call of Duty because they saw me. How are you not talking to your kid enough that you don't know they're watching my stream for 6 hours a day? Like that type of stuff. It's such a tough thing, especially growing up as someone who's like wanted to be in entertainment, wanted to be an actor, wanting to be out in the public, and realizing that
It's
like
not all it's
what
cut out to be.
what well and that, but also like what comes first? Is it the famous or known person? Is it that person's responsibility to model a good life for everyone else to see, or is it that person's responsibility to live their fucking life however they so choose, and for the parent to then teach their kid like what about that person's life should you then choose to aspire to or not aspire to?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I don't think yeah, like everyone is a celebrity or whatever is supposed to be perfect. You're supposed to be saying the right things at all the right times. You're supposed to be a model for kids, and it's like, if you want to be, like, yeah, I would love to be an inspiration and be someone that a kid can look up to and want to aspire to be like that. But that doesn't mean I'm going to cuss less in order to make it more palatable. That doesn't mean I'm going to make more appropriate jokes because it's more palatable to a younger audience. No, I'm going to be the 30-year-old that I'm going to be. And it's up to you as a parent to then distinguish like what is grown-up behavior and what is not grown-up behavior.
I completely make you right. Like, I've seen one of the things that like has obviously, as I say, been a lot more prominent for me lately is people trying to say like, what about kids that see this? And I'm like, well, I'm making the content on fucking Facebook, and you should be, if you're on Facebook, you should realistically be old enough to be making decisions for yourself, or at least being able to understand the real world.
Yeah.
And all of my content does specifically point out 18 plus. Like, you know, I'm not trying to advertise it to children, but if a kid does stumble across it, that's not my fucking fault.
Yeah.
That is their parents' fault. And that is their parents' obligation to explain to them that this is bad. Do not do this.
Yeah.
Like, I take zero responsibility, and I will sleep absolutely fine at night knowing that if a kid stumbles across my audio, across my content, I've never made it child friendly, so they shouldn't be watching in the first place.
Yeah.
If you don't allow your kids to be around swearing or, you know, dirty jokes or whatever the fuck it is that you want to call it, like whatever, like, and I will continue to sleep well knowing that I don't think I have an effect on any children's lives.
Yeah. If you want to worry about parenting a kid, then become a parent. You're not one, so you don't have to. Yeah.
Exactly. I don't want my own fucking kids because I don't want to have to
do this.
Like, to do this shit.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't want to do this shit, don't be a parent. Like that's not my fucking problem. It's yours.
Yeah. I love, that's, it's going to be very interesting what people think about that, because I also don't know what, I've been so firm on this for so long when certain celebrity, where it's like nude photos of a celebrity leak or something. And it's like, how is that their fault? Or like whatever, like anything that's of like adults doing adult shit that then gets spread out into the world. And then parents are like, oh, they shouldn't have. And it's like, they're grown.
But that's like saying, like, you know, you're having sex at home and your kid walks in on you. It's your responsibility to make sure they don't fucking walk in on you. And they're just as liable to accidentally walk in on something like that on the internet. Like, but it's your responsibility as a parent to stop that from happening, because the internet's a wild place, mate. And like most of the people that are saying this shit probably only actually said like 1% of the internet. Like, not even. They don't actually ever see any of the real fucked shit. You know what I mean?
No.
Like,
No, the internet's a horrible place.
Yeah, the internet's fucking diabolical, mate. It's like a haven for the worst people in the world. But, you know, if you don't want your kids seeing that, like, I'm sorry, but you brought them up in an era where social media and people making content, whether you agree with it or not, is incredibly prevalent.
Yeah.
Like, don't let your kid have social media if you don't want to see him shit.
Yeah, like that's why I feel like parenting is so much hard. I don't know. I'd be curious if there was any I don't want to say emotionally intelligent enough parent, but there is like a certain awareness you have to have about technology and the power of technology versus what it was 30 years ago. Like 30 years ago, what are you going to expect your kid's going to find? They can't go into like, they can find a Playboy, but they can't necessarily buy one.
Yeah.
They can get like, you would have to have access to older people in order to get what now the internet and fake IDs can provide.
Exactly.
I feel like.
I mean, like you know what, right? My stand on social media now, I've been on, you know, like I've had Instagram since I was young, had Snapchat and like all of the, you know, TikTok obviously wasn't about that long ago, but like all of that shit now. And like, I think TikTok is a diabolical platform. I think it's horrendous.
I love TikTok.
But it's just so.
But why? Like, why is it? Why do you think it's diabolical?
So, like, from my understanding of like chemical imbalances in your brain and things like that, and social media being such a big thing for fast dopamine hits,
Yeah.
TikTok is the definition of a fast dopamine hit. And as we're watching like attention spans dwindle and people's mental health go into the pan, having dopamine on tap like that is not healthy.
That's
Like
fair.
when you can literally just scroll through and just find shit, and if you don't like the first second of it, you can scroll on to the next one. Like that is unhealthy. It's ruining the attention span of people and things like that. And I don't think that, like, I personally think that if you're like parent, you shouldn't let your kid have social media until they're 16 anyway.
Oh yeah.
Because like with the shit that's online now, like no social media is safe. Like Twitter, you can go on, and I've gone on Twitter, and the first thing that's shown up on my thing is someone getting fucking beheaded.
Oh,
Like,
fun.
yeah, exactly. Or
Yeah.
like, all of like, and like, you know, the nasty stories. And all right, they're real. Like, you know, when people come out and they talk about like things that have happened to them and stuff, like that's awful. But as a child, you shouldn't be reading that.
No.
Like whether it's knowledgeable or not, that is down to your parents to teach you. And I just think that at this point in time, like with the way social media is and the lack of censorship, and also like there's such big push for freedom of speech, which I don't disagree with. I think within limits and within realms, but with like, you know, like these influential figures trying to push all these various different agendas and stuff. Like I think you shouldn't have social media at this point until you're old enough to really actually make decisions for yourself.
Dude, I'm 30 and still don't even think I should have social media sometimes. Like that's like I deleted Instagram and Facebook off of my phone. I only have TikTok and Twitter to keep me satiated. And yeah, TikTok is for the fast dopamine hits and the random videos that I love to watch. But yeah, there's 1000% more power that the parents need to be taking over than the creators who are creating the content. Because at the end of the day, we're just trying to have people watch our videos, and it's not our fault if your kid is scrolling and that app thinks that your kid should watch our video. I didn't ask for that.
You know, like I'm just trying to cater a video to an algorithm and not to necessarily who exactly is going to see it. I'm just like, I want to make fucking money, right? Like, you know, it's the same as anyone else. It's like a bus driver wants to make money, but if you let your kid run out in front of a fucking bus, that's your fault. Like,
oh yeah, yeah. You need to have that little leash.
Miles an hour, yeah, exactly. If a bus goes 30 miles an hour and you let go of your kid and they step out in front of the bus, like, how do you expect the bus driver to slow down? You can't. Like,
yeah.
You know, like I'm not going to slow down doing what I'm doing. Exactly. You know, I'm sure it's not fucking nice for anyone involved in that scenario, right? But at the end of the day, like if the kid is with you on the pavement, the kid is your responsibility, right? Yeah. Not the bus driver's responsibility. He's just trying to drive his bus.
Yeah. You know the bus is his responsibility. Exactly.
And you've put something in front of his bus and to a point where he can't slow down fast enough. Like it's as simple as that. Like if you're a parent, I think you should have full control and responsibility over your child. Like I don't think it's anyone else's problem.
So then, well, I guess no, that just goes back to the same thing, because I was going to say, how do you're not making content for kids? So I was just like, how? It's interesting that as much as we both seem to be in a way of not liking social media, but we also are a big part of social media, like in terms of how we create content.
You fucking hate it. Like I literally like 9 times out of 10 now don't scroll very often. Like I don't use TikTok.
Yeah.
The only things that I scroll are Instagram and Twitter. Twitter mostly because I find like the stories and the news aspects of it quite interesting.
That's what I get on TikTok.
Oh, see, I
get news on TikTok.
I like to read than I do watch. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, see, yeah, that's fair. Yeah. I don't like to read.
Then like Instagram, the only people I follow are like people that I either find really interesting or like people that I am personally friends with. So I'm just kind of generally scrolling for the sake of scrolling. It's like out of sheer boredom.
Yeah.
Like I don't spend a lot of time on social media, like at all. I post and ghost. That's it.
Nice.
I've stopped responding to comments all the time because it just makes me like fucking anxious all the time. Like,
yeah,
you know, like my phone is constantly on do not disturb.
Nice.
Because the amount of sheer notifications, like I have like one of the fitness watches and the notifications come through on it, right? And between the amount of phone calls that I have to take daily anyway, and like the amount of notifications that you get as being a creator, let alone having like multiple other companies that are building social media presences, like, and obviously having messages from customers and things like that, like fucking hell, if I didn't have that phone on do not disturb, I would be like a nervous wreck. And I was like that for a long time.
Yeah. How did you figure out that you were becoming a nervous wreck? What was that feeling for you?
Because my watch would buzz and I would instantly be like that and shaking.
Really?
Yeah, it was that bad.
How long ago?
Like last year.
And was that another quick, like, I know what to do already, I just need to stop checking these things as much? Or what was that realization journey?
Jade used to have her phone on Do Not Disturb all the time, and it really wound me up because anytime I rang her, I had to ring her twice.
Nice.
And I was like, why'd you do it? She's like, because I just don't get spam and notifications. And I was like, I bet. So I was like, I'm going to try it. I'm just going to try it and see how I get on. I've done it for a weekend, and it was
feels so good.
Freeing.
It feels so good.
The most beautiful
it's
feeling.
So great.
And I was like, that's it. It's staying like it forever now. Like it just, I don't have to check it. It speeds up my work time. I have better conversation with people because I don't have to consistently like be wondering, oh fuck, what's come up now? Oh fuck, what's come up now? Like, you know, it's brilliant.
So do you have a like certain relationship with your employees and coworkers and all of that where they know when and how to reach you? Like, are you a person that's like, okay, from 8 to 1 is when I'll be on my phone and take calls, and then 1 off, I'm not?
If they need to ring me, they ring me. Like, I'm not going to sit there and be arsey, because if someone rings me and I'm busy, I'll answer it and just say I'm busy.
Nice.
And then I'll be like, I'll call you back when I get time. Like,
and are you good at managing that? Because I know one thing that I suck at is, I mean, granted, I don't have 37 businesses, but I'm shit at getting back to people and like maintaining conversation. Like my biggest angst, like I don't text people. Like even that's why when people are like, I sent you a DM, and I'm like, awesome, I might look at it, but nothing gives me more anxiety than like an ongoing text conversation, especially because unless it's actually, no, like there are certain times where I'll start a deep conversation and then it's like, no, we need to have this over the phone. Like I refuse. I hate that. I hate it. So how do you manage that? How do you manage that personal with all of your businesses? Because that's giving like, a lot of yourself over.
Most people just ring me, so it's over and done with.
Nice.
They probably need an answer urgently anyway, and because my phone's on Do Not Disturb, I don't respond to things urgently. As like if people know that if they need something, they just ring me. It's as simple as that, and I'll either answer immediately, or I'll say I'll ring you back in a bit, and if you don't hear back from me in like a couple of hours, ring me again.
Nice.
If it's that urgent, I'll deal with it now. Like it is what it is.
Are you not a big texter?
Nah, I fucking hate it. Like,
dude, it's so
yeah. Like whenever I'm like around people, I would rather be around people having like a proper meaningful conversation.
Yeah.
Like I don't like this idea of like texting people consistently. Like unless I have to, or unless we're discussing something brief, then it can stay on text for the most part, or I'll just like either catch up in person or just ring you.
Nice.
Because it's just quick and there's no fuck arsing about. And like I also can just speak. I don't have to try and keep up with my brain trying to type. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Dude, especially when you're trying to have just like a conversation and then you shut your phone off and then you're like, fuck, okay, they have to reply. I'm supposed to be waiting for that reply. And then you open it and then it's like, that's what I can't stand.
Yeah. Literally the that kind of like anxious feeling of like, I've sent someone a message, when are they going to get back to me? And then they send me a message. I'm like, how soon do I respond?
Yeah.
Like,
And it's like, oh, they probably want me to get back to them really quickly. That's why like whenever someone DMs, I'll get to it when I get to it. I might not get to it.
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
There's like people that come in my stream, they're like, I sent you a message. And I'm like, on what? You have to be more specific than just, I sent you a message.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, I sent you a message on Twitter. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, I'll have a look when I get a chance. And they're like, when will that be? And I'm like, honestly, I don't know. I was like, I don't really check my messages very often. I was like, I'll just respond to it when I can be asked. I was like, the normal wait time is like 2 to 3 weeks.
Nice. When I get bored and see that I have unread messages, I'll be like, oh, what do I want to see? Like chances are,
and if the preview isn't interesting, it's not getting read. Sorry, mate.
1000%. I mean, chances are I've read your message. If it's in my recommended or whatever, or in my request, chances are I've read it. That's it. Otherwise, I get so anxious about fuck. Okay, you're gonna reply and then expect a reply, and then I have to. No, I'm good. It's
not just that though. On like platforms like Instagram and Twitter, like where you might actually spend a fair amount of time yourself. Once you respond to someone's message, you give them a direct access to continue messaging you, and like revoking that from someone is either feels immoral in a sense, or it's just really difficult. And like once someone has messaged me once and I've responded, I can guarantee that person continues to message me afterwards, and I'm like, I'm not like, I know it's brutal to say, but it's like, I'm not your friend. I don't know you as a person. Like, I don't know you as an individual. Like, I'm not going to sit here and try and have regular conversations with you, because as fucked as it sounds, if I did that for everyone, I wouldn't have time to make content.
Same,
I
dude.
wouldn't have time to go live or do business shit. Like, I'm not, you know, I'm not a therapist, and I stand by that. And but I'm also, I can't be a friend to everyone. I'm an entertainer. I'm
Yeah.
not, you know, your mate from down the pub.
Yeah, that's
Like,
valid. And that's
and I think
like,
you have to set that boundary, right?
yeah. And it's also so tricky though, because you do end up, it's one of those, again, the inadvertent benefit outcome of what we do is you are spending hours a day with people. They are spending it with you. You're spending it with them. So there's like, there is that inherent closeness that's cultivated, but it's also different because that closeness doesn't necessarily correlate with everywhere. And I think that's just like the interesting part of like, that's, I guess, one of the beautiful things of content creation is no one is doing it the same. Like, some people are so adamant about replying to every message, replying to comments, doing this, being as involved as they possibly can. Some people go stream and dip. Like, that's more me, is stream all, like, that's why I like Twitter, because I can post something, you can reply, and I have zero obligation to reply.
Yeah.
I can heart it, and that is so satisfying. But the second that jumps to like a conversation or something in DMs, that's when it gets way crazier. But yeah, there's so much, dude. There's so much that we are asked that some things like you just don't want to be asked to. And that's,
I mean, I think as well, like as creators, like a lot of creators won't talk about the boundaries that they have. And then like when you do talk about it, like people don't like that you talk about it, because I find a lot of the time, like, people almost forget that you're your own person as well. It's so easy to do, because like I know I do it with like celebrities occasionally. Like, you'll see someone on like the TV and you're like, fucking hell, their life must be good. And then it's like, you obviously have to think that they go through all the same shit that you do, like as a person, as well as doing like everything in public too. Like, and like a lot of people find it difficult to believe that you have your own shit going on sometimes.
Yeah.
And like, I've had people message me with like something that was like a perfectly fine message, and I've responded to them in a way that's like almost expresses, not like, yeah, okay, probably almost expresses my disinterest in what they've said, because I'm like, I know it sounds fucking horrible, but it's like, I'm sorry, I cannot like entertain every single person who says things like this to me, because otherwise I wouldn't have any time. And then they get arsy with that because they don't understand that like I've got my own fucking family, my own friends that I know like in person, that like I might actually have to spend time with and do things with, and I haven't got time to sit there and like talk to some random geezer on the internet all the time. Like, I don't have it. Like,
you have those 3 hours a day to an extent that you're live. Like, that's my time. If you, that makes sense. If you want to
interact with us, do it then. Like, please don't encroach on my life where I have other responsibilities and other people to worry about, because unfortunately, you are not the be all and end all in my life. And as brutal as that may sound, and some people really don't like to hear that, and that's why I think a lot of creators stray away from that conversation, because it's a hard one to have.
Well, because there's like, also say more words. What were you gonna say?
No, go on.
Oh, I was gonna say, because there's a difference between sending a DM or a message with the hopes to get engagement or a reply versus just throwing your shit out there. Like, the amount of like, there's like a certain emotional connection that you almost have to take away. Like, the amount of DMs I've sent to people that are like, hey, you want to do a co-stream or whatever, and not gotten a reply. If I sat there and actually took that personally and were like, oh my gosh, they don't care about me, they think that I am, you're just doing yourself a disservice. But if I am doing it because it's like, oh my gosh, maybe it would be cool to have an engagement with that person, and I don't get a reply, okay, that's cool. Like, we're all living our own life. Like, I think that's a big part of the boundary thing that I definitely had to learn, that I think a lot of people, especially before they get into this, might not have, which is like, you need to have boundaries. You need to know what you're going to, how many messages you're willing to reply to, what type of messages you're willing, like, am I willing to reply to messages? Like, to what depth do I want to talk about my life on stream. Like there's so much, and no way is right or wrong at the end of the day, as long as you're just comfortable with whatever boundary you set. That's it. Like that's why I don't, if you're again, like the type of person that wants to sit and reply to all those DMs and that's beautiful for you and that doesn't take away from your life and it's enriching. Fuck yeah. I love that. I'm not going to be that type of person.
Yeah.
I would rather, and that's why like, it's crazy that you mentioned, like, I'm not a therapist, which I'm actually debating if I actually might end up studying to become one. But that's why I'm on Saturdays now, I'm going to have supporter chatter day where it's like 5 to 10 minutes, hop in the Discord. You can say, we could talk about whatever the fuck you want. If you have questions about streaming, if you have questions about your life, if you just want to say like, hey, thanks, or hey, your hair is stupid, please don't say that. But also like whatever, like that. I know how many people would like to access me or have that connection. So beautiful. Yeah. I'm able to navigate my life in a way that provides for that. And that's how I want to do it. And that might not work. Like that's something that seems like you would rather fucking stab yourself in the eye than do that. And that's great. That's beautiful.
Like, my question for you though is like, how long term does that become scalable? Like in theory, as a creator, you consistently grow and you grow your audience, and those people become more and more and more and more and more.
Yeah.
How do you consistently begin to fit that into that schedule?
That's
make time for people without making it look like you're prioritizing one over another.
That's we'll continue to learn as we figure it out. Like that'll be the first week, but I mean, eventually. I don't know. Eventually, like I forget what his name is, but just whatever the gecko is, like I think it might just be a situation where not everyone will get to chat. And it's either if enough people are like, I didn't get to talk, then okay, awesome. I'm so sorry. But here's the two options. Either one is you have an equal opportunity to potentially come in knowing that you might not get that opportunity, or we don't do it at all and you now never have an opportunity. Yeah. So I feel like that's where you just have to end up giving the unfortunate truth of like, some people might not get that opportunity.
Yeah.
But again, either no one gets it or some do. And I think that's kind of just the shitty situation of it, is like the sooner you realize that you're not going to be able to make everyone happy, the sooner you're going to find success.
That was exactly the thought process I had between like switching to content types.
Yeah.
So I know 100% what you're going on about.
Yeah. Like that's it. Not everyone is going to enjoy it. Not everyone is comfortable with the fact that you're not allowed to talk shit on random streamers, or like I have kinder boundaries towards people in chat. That's okay. There's thousands of other people who would love to not care, and you can go and watch them. At the end of the day, like you're just like, I have to be comfortable doing what I'm doing with the boundaries that I have set in how I want to do this. And if you're not okay with that, that's okay. Enjoy your life, and I wish you the best. Like that's not, it's nothing deeper than that. Like I don't hold any ill will. I'm not out here like trying to piss this person off of like, oh, I know you're not going to get the opportunity to talk to me. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
It's not that.
I think it's so hard to like balance that as well though, because like so many people like see the connection that they have with you as a creator in such this personable way. And then like, but to you, it's just like, there's meaning behind people's names when they come in the chat. But in the same token, like most of the time you don't know really anything about anyone on the fucking internet that watches you. And a lot of them will know like fucking every ounce of your life. Like, I don't know if this is like a normal thing to do, but when like a year or two ago, when like all of the cheating stuff was like really prevalent, I would Google myself because it would be really funny watching the results come up of what happened when you Googled me and how many people would like be talking about like me cheating and stuff.
Really?
And it kind of died down, and I hadn't done it for a long time. And then last night we were sat there after stream, me and Pud, and I was like, you know what, I've not done in ages. He was like, what? I was like, Googled myself. And he goes, should we do it? I was like, yeah, go on then. So we Googled Halford sucks, and like an array of stuff came up, still some old cheating things.
Yeah.
And then like links to all of my social medias, a couple of like news articles and stuff. And then there was like one that was like famous birthdays, which is like this website.
I'm on it too.
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah. And I was like, when the fuck did I get added to this? I was like, it's like a picture from like 3 years ago of me with like a massive spot on my face looking really overweight. Yeah. And I was like, okay. And then they're like, born in the United States. And I was like, that's fucking wrong. I was like, it's obviously fairly recent. Yeah. Because they've got like making COD content and like over 150,000 followers I was like, they've not looked into everything. And then I like click through the pictures and they've scrolled back through my Instagram at some point, and there's like a picture of me from when I was 17. And they put that on there and it says 17. And Pud was like, when was that? I was like, fucking long time ago. I was like, you know what's really weird? I was like, they was scrolling through my Instagram to find that. And I know that the caption for that photo is summer slut. And I was like, fuck's sake. I was like, so they've scrolled through my Instagram, found a picture that says summer slut, decided to put it on their fucking website. And then, like, my family section, they've got my dad's name wrong. They've said that my dad's name is Pud's real name. So it said that Pud is my dad and my mum. And then there was like, and then just some other random shit. And I sat there and looked at it and was like, what? I was like, this is so bizarre.
Dude, now I'm looking. Okay, so there's a lot of images for me. IMDb is first, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. That's someone else. I swore I was on famous birthdays. There we go. Let's see. They actually have my birthday right. They have my age right. About weightlifter who shows off his physique and workout routines on his popular Instagram account. John spelled wrong. So far, his account has attracted more than 10,000 followers. This has to be so old. He played football in high school and graduated in 2011. Bro.
It's weird the research they do, though, because they have like really bizarre things that like I wouldn't think they'd have. And then they have like things that are just like, how are you missing this part?
Dude, yeah, in my family life, they have like, he's close friends with fellow fitness enthusiast, Carolyn Mick. I haven't talked to her in so long, and we met once in person, and that was it. What the hell, dude? Yeah, Instagram star, I'll fucking take it. But the photo that they have is relatively new. So it's like, I haven't had the about section. I haven't had 10,000 followers in like 5 years, 5, 6, 7 years. So that's fucking hilarious. Dude, yeah, famous birthdays. Never trust anyone who's reading those except for the birthday, because it's actually true.
Yeah, the birthday is about the only thing that's right on there. They spelled my name right as well, though, because I spelled my name funny.
It's just wild that they put your dad is fucking Pud.
Yeah, like my family section is his mother and father are Jay and Mandy Halford, and he dated someone called JD, and that's all that's in my family section. I was like, what?
Dude,
how strange that that's literally the sentence that it says.
That's so good. So
fucking weird website, man.
Okay, so now to tie this all the way back to platforms. So what are you doing now? Like, are you still sticking with Facebook? Are you planning on moving your gambling stuff over to Kick? Like, what's been that?
I'm just chilling at the moment. Like, I didn't want to. Well, the biggest problem that I had with Facebook was the exclusivity aspect of it, because obviously, like, I know that like partners in the US don't have the same clause that we do, but in the UK, it was like we had to stream a minimum of 20 hours, but it also every gaming stream that we did had to be on Facebook. Like, we could do just chatting streams elsewhere, but it's kind of hard to get people to convert over that when I didn't do just chatting streams on Facebook.
Yeah.
So like I was just like, I just fucking don't want that restriction, because like even though Facebook's where the bulk of my audience is and I've converted people elsewhere, I find it really hard to convert people off of Facebook, because you can do everything on Facebook.
Yeah.
Like if you wanna do an announcement post on Facebook, you can do an announcement post on Facebook. It's not like Twitch, where like on Twitch it's like you can't do posts.
Yeah.
So you have to get people to follow you on Twitter. Like you don't have to do that on Facebook. So I never did it from the start. And to try and do it like a good portion of the way into my career is like it's almost too late.
Yeah.
So like I'm branching out slowly, but obviously I've also just made a huge transitional step content wise. So like I'm rebuilding that audience period.
Nice.
To try and cater to new audiences. So I'd rather just stick with what I know at the moment and just slowly branch out once I feel like I've rebuilt that foundation properly again.
What is that new content, if you can talk about it?
Well, no. Obviously, I've gone from like COD to gambling.
Yeah.
And not all of those viewers convert. And also I'm doing it at different times as well. And I'm also trying to focus a lot more on like real lifestyle content. Obviously, I don't actually like sitting behind my desk 24/7.
Yeah.
Surprisingly enough. And I do enjoy training for marathons and for fights and triathlons and things like that, and pushing myself as an individual to the limits. And if I can create content around that, especially content that like might inspire people to do better in their own health as well, then 100% I will. And you know, I'm trying to sort of figure out my way around doing that, because I'm not sure how that goes at the moment. I'm just kind of I'm just kind of floating for now. Like, I'm in
Yeah,
no rush to see what happens. I'm just excited to try new shit without any restrictions. You know what I mean?
I love it. How long have you been focusing more on the IRL stuff?
Um, I wouldn't say I've really made like
Or
too
not
much content
focus,
on
but
it.
trying.
Like, yeah, we like last year, when Pud first started working with me, we focused on making like a bunch of like IRL based YouTube videos, some of which were challenge videos, some of them were more like vlogs. Obviously, like as doing what I do, I get to actually live quite an extravagant lifestyle and travel and see cool shit. And
Yeah.
like I'm presented with opportunities that like I otherwise wouldn't have been presented with if it wasn't who I was, sort of thing. And so like we do like vlog style things with that. Um, like, you know, just that sort of shit. Like, but I kind of don't focus on it. I just kind of let it happen because
Yeah.
I don't want to like I'm not trying to sell my life as something fascinating because realistically 6 out of 7 days of the week, I am sat at my desk every day. I am doing a fuck ton of work. And then the rest of the time, if I'm not doing that, I'm probably training or in the gym or in fucking meetings. And that's not overly fascinating. So when we do get these cool opportunities to like go and present an award show or like go to this massive blase event that's really extravagant and cool, like, yeah, if I can film it and it not be too weird, be trying to film the experience, then I will, and I'll make a video out of it. If people want to watch, they want to watch it. If they don't, I'm not going to fucking try and yam it down someone's neck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just
So
create the
like
content.
sometimes, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like we've climbed like mountains, and I filmed climbing the mountain, which was diabolical because it's pissing hard all day.
Nice.
Like and just shit like that. Like I just find it fun. Like I like to do like little weekend trips on like a Saturday. It'll only be for like a day, but like this Saturday, I'm probably gonna go up north somewhere. There's like a lovely like I suppose it's like a national park, but for the UK.
Hold on. Can I pause you for
Um,
30 for 2.5
sure.
seconds? Cool. Thanks.
um, there's like a national park that looks kind of cool, and I kind of want to go up there because I've never had the chance to do it. So we're just gonna go and wander up there and do that sort of shit. Like I don't know. I like to live my life as like off camera as much as I do on camera. So I try to kind
Yeah.
of find that like healthy balance between without like realistically, I could consider everything content, but in the same token, like I also like to just live like relatively stress free and actually experience things as well.
How are you trying to figure out balancing that? Because that's the exact thing that I'm working towards, because so many people want to see me do jujitsu, me at the gym,
Yeah.
me whatever, me playing volleyball. But there's like that part of me that's like, no, that's me. But also realizing that I could create content that people would want to watch. So like, how is there something in you that sees the content as more valuable to your own experience at some point, and then you're like, fuck, it's worth it? Or how?
From like a monetizing the content perspective aspect, I'm not phased about doing that anymore. Like if people like want to watch me doing shit, they want to watch me doing shit. I'm not going to sit there and try and think about how I can make it like a new career path. Because I did that with gaming and it ruined gaming for me.
Yeah.
And it made it so much more harder to enjoy. So like my artwork and stuff, as I say, I fucking love painting and I love being able to sit there and draw, and I've got sketchbooks filled up with shit that like will never see the light of day to anyone other than me, and I don't want it to. But like if I do like a painting that I'm particularly proud of, like the one like this one,
Dude, that
I
thing's
love doing,
sick. That was
and
the first one I saw.
yeah, I've done like a huge like 6 foot version in the front of my office as well. And so like doing things like that, I love doing. And if I post a picture of it and people enjoy it and you know want a copy or whatever, then I'll make prints and I'll put them on
Nice.
my website. But I'm not gonna go out of my way to force myself to do it every month. I'm just gonna do it. And if it happens naturally, it happens naturally. It's the same with like experiences. If I go somewhere and I feel like it would be appropriate to film, then I'll film it, but I'm not going to force myself to film it. Like obviously I have like an opportunity at the moment to document my boxing
Yeah.
and training for my boxing. But I know that if I'm documenting myself while I'm learning, I'm taking away from the experience of learning,
Yeah.
because I do actually need to train. Like I would rather not step in a ring and get my fucking head kicked in.
Fair.
So like I do actually need to train. Maybe in like a month's time when I've got like 2 weeks left before the fight, I'll sit there and I'll be like, okay, I feel comfortable now. Like, even though it's the last 2 weeks, I've also trained my bollocks off for the last 6. So if I set up a camera and we get a couple of highlights, then I get a couple of highlights and I can piece it together in a video. If people care about watching it, they care about watching it. But I'm not going to force that upon myself or anybody else.
Nice. So it seems
So,
like primarily you have to be inspired and maybe want to see this at a later time And then there's the, oh, since I recorded it, might as well. Nice.
I document a lot of things that I do anyway, just because, like, as I say, like, through the alcohol and like ADHD and stuff, my memory's not the best. And I can forget quite a lot of things. And like sometimes it's like funny, the things that I forget, and then other times it's like I'm genuinely sad that I forgot that. Like I have the date of my granddad passing tattooed on me so that I physically don't forget that. Do you know what I mean? Like shit like that is like, wow, I really did piss away quite a few years of my life just because I was, reliant on something that I shouldn't have been reliant on. Do you know what I mean? And so I'm kind of wary of that sort of thing. So I like to live in the moment, but there's like elements to that where like the reason I don't care about like monetizing or turning content into a business, and if I make it a video, it's mostly just for me to look back on. Like when I went to Malta last year and like never presented an award show, never stood up on a stage in front of like thousands of people. I fucking done it because I thought it'd be a cool experience, and I did, and I loved every second of it. It was brilliant. But I wouldn't have remembered the finer details of that if we hadn't have filmed it and got to like make a video out of it. I don't care if anyone watches it, but I've now got like a nice little like collection of memories for me to look back on and think, I remember that. That's quite cool. But otherwise I probably wouldn't remember it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And are you recording these yourself? Or do you like think of, do you have a friend or someone help you? Like,
Is normally there.
Nice.
Because like, obviously, as I say, like a big part of him working with me is like, that's my best mate. I want him to get to experience shit as well. And so by him coming along to these mad events, he gets to experience stuff. But also we've got like an easy way of documenting it. And I'm not just living this, because like doing this shit gets fucking lonely.
Yeah.
I did this stuff for like over 3 years on my, or like 3 years on my own, going to these events, just rocking up to meet people that I'd only ever known online and not getting to probably ever see most of them ever again.
Yeah.
And just continuing to talk online. And that, like, it doesn't always feel as meaningful, but like when I've got someone that's alongside me, like experiencing that, living that shit with me, like it's so much more cool. Like,
nice.
I think it adds a lot of meaning to it, for me at least.
So was that something you were craving before you brought him in this capacity, or was it something that you feel you've just realized since you've allowed that in your life?
I think I realized it since I allowed it. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm still a loner. I will still shut my door and be left alone all day, and I will make sure that he knows that if I shut my door, not to fucking come in unless it's urgent.
Nice.
And like everyone knows that. Like if I want to be left alone, I want to be left alone. Like,
yeah.
And I will still spend the majority of my day on my own. I like my own company. I'm more productive on my own. I can focus. If I'm having a fucking moment where it's like I can't concentrate at the minute, I'm just gonna put on fucking like a YouTube video and calm down for 20 minutes and then come back to it in, in 10, 15 minutes time, whatever. Like I can do that, and I will always prioritize being on my own than I will be with someone else, because that independence aspect for me is incredibly important. And being able to ensure that I'm not reliant upon anyone. So yeah, I don't know. Like I do think it has benefits, but I also like after I've spent a day with someone, I have to be on my own for a while, and I will tell them to go fuck themselves and leave me be.
So here, just one day is enough for you to need like 24 hours alone?
Is more than enough, yeah. Like normally when we travel, like it's cheaper for us to get like obviously the same hotel room and just different beds. But like if we've done like a 7-hour drive to the other end of the country, I'm getting my fucking room, do one. Please go away.
Nice. That's so good.
Like normally when we travel, like we'll have separate rooms. Like I'll pay for like both the rooms. I don't expect him to come because he wouldn't be coming if it wasn't for me, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it's just because I need to have that space to myself. Like I'll be the first one, like in a changing room, to not be phased about getting changed in front of other people. It's not like I'm self-conscious about anything like that. It's just I like being able to, if I want to fucking lay flat on the bed and do like a massive fart, like I can do that if I'm on my own. Do you know what I mean? And it doesn't matter. Like doesn't really matter. Like just things like that. Like I don't know. I just like being able to. I feel more free on my own.
That's fair.
I'd like to experience things with other people as well.
So
healthy balance.
Yeah. Well, and you had mentioned that, so if you're feeling some type of way, you'll put on a YouTube video. I know you had mentioned that painting is a big piece for you. Work is a big piece for you. Fitness, like, are those your main, like, what are your take care of your mental? I need to kind of just check in with myself. What is that for you?
Music, gym, paint.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Anything that like music, from the second I wake, like I normally fall asleep listening to music as well. Like my Spotify Wrapped at the end of every year is disgusting. There's so many fucking hundreds of thousands of minutes listened to. Do you know what I mean? Like it's crazy because it's on. Like if I'm awake, there's music playing, and normally I fall asleep to it as well, and it'll play through the night as well.
Nice.
So there's basically music in my life like 20 to 24 hours a day, and like that keeps me grounded. It keeps me like I can't focus unless I have like a slight background audio track to like keep me ticking by. So like even when I'm playing COD or like now I've got music playing.
Nice.
Like it's always on. Do you know what I mean? It might be the same song on repeat, or it might just be random shit. Doesn't matter. And then like I go to the gym every day because it's yourself, like it's that release. It's like all of that built up tension, and you can just pick up a weight, and it like even though you're putting more weight on, like it feels like there's a weight off your shoulders. Do you know what I mean? It's such a like weird comparison to make, but and then painting as well. Like I love creative things. I love things that I can progress in as well. So like painting and the gym are two very progressive things. Like if you want to, like you can start a painting. Like for instance, like I can show you this. Like this will mean absolutely fuck all to you at the moment, but like I'm painting a boxing glove.
Nice.
But this will be like a progressive thing.
Yeah.
Right. So it starts off looking shit. And then hopefully by the end of it, it doesn't look quite as shit. I'm not going to say it will because, I've scrapped many a piece of art in the past because I didn't like how it turned out. But like eventually it will come out and it will look cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's progressive. It's getting better every time I go back to it.
I love that. And then getting back to the music, were you having the music? Because I'm the exact same. The second I wake up, Spotify's on. I mean, I can't. Yeah. Unfortunately for me, I can't fall asleep to music because if it's a song I like I'll get excited and start singing or whatever. So I just listen to like river noises or some shit like that. Okay. But the second I wake up, that is muted. I either have a podcast on, a book on tape, or I have music on. Have you noticed, were you that way before you went sober?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've always been like that with music. Yeah. Ever since I was a kid, it's always been music. I grew like my dad is big into his music and I grew up around him. Always like our best memories together are music based.
Nice.
And it took like a huge part of my life as a kid, and it's just kind of translated into being an adult as well, that there's a lot of music in my life. You know what I mean? What's
your go-to calmness, or is it any type of music?
Calmness is not really genre based. There's a band, I don't know if you'll ever heard of them. There's a band called Elbow.
No.
But their lead singer has an absolutely beautiful voice, and I love songs that have passion behind them.
Yeah.
Like if a song I think that's why I don't like a lot of pop songs, because I can't feel the passion. It feels like it is scripted, and it feels like it is let's hit the top of the charts, and it's not let's put every fiber of being. Like if a song gives me goosebumps, I fucking love that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so for me, Elbow is like a beautiful band. The way that he sings and the way that they have like things accompany them, like it's like it's if you listen to it, it'd probably be like not the sort of music you'd expect me to listen to. But I grew up listening to like one of their albums, and that's as they've released new music, I've seen them live, and I just love it. Like it gives me chills. Do you know what I mean? And so whenever I want to calm down and fall asleep, I put that on just gently in the background.
Nice.
And then most of the time, I'll listen to sort of like more like complete contrast, more like heavy rock style stuff.
Okay, that's fair.
And like old school rock as well.
So are you not one that gets distracted by lyrics? Because that's the one thing. Like I can do lo-fi, but if I were to have music on in the background and it wasn't lo-fi, I would have checked out of shit I need to be listening to like on occasion.
So like I'll always be the first one to sing. Like I fucking love sitting there just belting out some lyrics. But for me, it's just a way to keep my brain on track. Because I try and focus on so many things at once. If there's one constant, it means I can focus on that constant and then take parts and put it towards one thing at a time. So like otherwise, if that's not there, it's like sensory overload and there's so many things happening and I'm like, what one do I look at first? It's like, whereas if that happens, there's music playing, I can just be like, go back to the music and then deal with it one step at a time.
Interesting. So the music is like the anchor, the home base to kind of come back to, check in with yourself and then be like, oh, what am I going to do first? Okay, there.
Yeah.
But if there's no music, then interesting. So to like visualize it, if the music is on, it's easier to see an individual thing. If the music is off, everything is screaming at you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Yeah.
So like,
That's fair.
and like obviously, music and creativity I think go hand in hand as well.
Yeah.
And as much as like it might seem that I have to sit there and do loads of boring like paperwork and shit, which I do, but I also like to do it in like, you know, if you ever have to sit there and have like an official meeting with me, I'll make sure it's as unofficial as possible.
Nice.
Because I can't take many things seriously. So like even when I have to do paperwork and stuff, like I'll do really weird things just to make it like that little bit more flamboyant, so I feel slightly less bored when I'm doing
Like
it.
what?
You know what I mean? Like every now and then, like, and it's just little things for me, but I write in like block capitals. I don't know why. I've just always done it.
No, wait. So like everything is capital?
Everything is capital.
You're a horrible person. Continue. You're a
I used to
horrible,
write
horrible
I
person.
had horrible handwriting when I was younger, so that then went from like being all nice and cursive to then being just separate letters, and then from there it was like, because as I say, the bulk of what I have to do in terms of writing is paperwork stuff.
Yeah.
And so it needs to be like fully legible. So I just write in block capitals. And I don't think I could go back to writing normally now. It's really weird. But like every now and then, like I'll just do like an I, and then I'll just put like a little heart over the I for no apparent reason other than just to spice it up for my own fucking boredom. I don't know why, but just things like that.
Dude, that's ADHD for you. You just have to find that little bit of dopamine in every moment. Yeah,
exactly. But it's just like, oh, I've been doing this for an hour now. I'm bored shitless. Let me just do a little heart here, just see what happens. See if anyone ever picks up on it. No one's ever called me out on it. It's just happened.
So would you say that that's your key to dealing with? Because of course, being a business owner, there's so much mundane boringness. Would you say that's how you keep yourself going? I mean, music, and then just, I guess, little gifts for yourself, if you will.
No, I don't think I need vices. I think
not even vices, just like those little heart things. Like, would you be able to make it through that boring shit if it wasn't for those little things?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love the boring shit as much as I love the exciting shit.
Really?
The boring shit is where the real growth happens. Like,
fuck you for that, because that's so true. That's what I'm literally trying to figure out.
Like this is the thing. Like when I only ever focused on making content, I didn't have any other business stuff to focus on. The real growth didn't happen from me sitting there and streaming for 3 hours. It happened from me sitting there and thinking, how can I make the stream better? And how can I make the videos better?
Yeah.
And then working on those videos. It was the boring aspects of it that really leveled the content up the next part. And that's reflective of every part of your life. I think, you know, like at the end of the day, like the fight that's coming up in 6 weeks, right? The fight is the exciting part. And a lot of people see the training as the boring part. But the training is where you really get yourself ready for the fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the most important part, because you can't fight if you're not ready.
You
can't do anything if you're not ready and you don't put all the background in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's literally what I'm trying to embrace, because I love comfort. I love it. I hate feeling things.
I'm like the complete opposite. If I'm comfortable, I'm sad.
Really? I guess it's different, because at the gym, jujitsu, like in certain things, I definitely know that uncomfortability is there, and that's what I want, and that's what I'm there for.
Yeah.
But I think it's just in the sitting on my couch and trying to relax and feeling anxiety or feeling some type of way that's not comfort, and being like, I don't want to fucking grow right now. I just want to watch TV. Like, this is bullshit. This shouldn't be happening right now. What am I going to learn from sitting here and feeling a lot is the answer to that question. But
the fascinating part is I need to do that more, but I can't bring myself to do that. Like, I'm so switched on at every hour of the day that if I have to sit there and stagnate for more than 10 minutes, I will drive myself up the fucking wall. Like if you made me sit still, you better put me in a padded room, because there's no way I'm not losing it. Do you know what I mean? I just can't do it. I can't switch off in that way.
And have you always been like that?
Yeah, I've always had a goal, and I've always been driven.
Nice.
And I think that if you have a goal, it doesn't matter what's put in front of you. You'll work through it and you'll figure something out.
Nice. How do you maintain the four? I mean, it just seems like you've worked so hard to just have the, like, I'm gonna fucking do it. But is there any times where you are trying to check out, or you are trying to give up, and you have to cultivate whatever it is in yourself to continue pushing on? Like, what is that for you? Is it little inspirational talks? Is it reflection?
There's different levels to this. Like when I was younger, when I was about 16, I
6 years ago.
6 years ago, but yeah.
Oh, perfect time to cut you off. Jesus. Okay.
No,
awesome. Good work, John.
I think it's an important topic to talk about.
Hey,
Not
one
everyone can
thing that
be,
you
like,
didn't succeed in. Good
I
job.
know.
See?
And that's the thing. Like, I don't believe in like fate or things like that, but I believe that we all have a reason for being here.
Yeah.
Do you know? Like, and I thought my reason was something different.
Do you
And
care
at
to
the
share what that
time,
was?
I don't know. I just like I'd always worked towards the Marines, and that was all I'd ever wanted. And it hadn't been taken away at me at that point, but it just felt so unachievable. And I think I needed it to feel unachievable, like to be where I am now. Because if
Yeah.
that had been easy, but at the time it felt unachievable. Things were crumbling around me. Like I felt like I'd pissed away a lot of my exams and hadn't done well in it. And my dad's dad had just died at the time, and it was like my first time dealing with proper grief. And it was quite an overwhelming thing, and just like a whole bunch of other stuff. Like I don't even feel like a lot of mental health stuff needs a reason. Sometimes it just gets the better of you.
Yeah.
And that was one of those times where it just got the better of me, and like I don't know, I tried my fucking hardest to end it all, and somehow woke up the next morning and was like, shit, why the fuck am I still here? Like, is this real? I was like, I don't even know if this is real anymore, but apparently it was. And I was like, well, not really sure what to do with myself. And it took me a few weeks to kind of figure out what I was going to do. And I didn't really have a direction. I was just like, I guess I just keep doing what I was going to do. Because if I, like, when you try that fucking hard, like, and
Yeah.
it doesn't work, there's got to be a reason that shit didn't work. Got to find what that reason is. So I kept working towards my goal at the time. And then obviously when I broke my leg, that kind of put an end to joining the Marines.
Yeah.
And I kind of just started streaming for a laugh. And that was led me to where I am today. And so like now my goals have changed entirely. And it's like, you know, I have goals in my head that I want to achieve and that I will work towards, and that I won't realistically fucking quit until I'm there.
Yeah. So what in those few weeks after, where did you tell anyone? Did you gain support from anyone, or was it again you dealing with you and just moving on?
I didn't share that with anyone, like, until realistically in the last few years that only came out a bit more. Like I don't know, it took about a year for me to talk about it with my family, and then like in terms of like talking about it with anyone that wasn't like my parents, more or less, it's sort of been something that I've been a lot more open about in the last few years, because it's like I don't think it's anything to be ashamed about. Like,
No.
fuck it. Like, you know, I think it takes more balls to talk about it than it does to not talk about it. Do you know what I mean? And
Oh yeah.
and I think there are a lot of people who go through shit like that. And I'm obviously in a position now where I have like the ability to talk to lots of people at once.
Yeah.
And to spread a message to a wider audience than, you know, I did when I was 16. And so like through my own doings and experiences in life, if I can share either some wisdom or something that I've been through that might help somebody else, then I will.
What's the biggest wisdom you would pass on to someone?
In life or in business or in what?
Yes. All of it. Whatever.
Um
Let's go business and then life.
okay, business. There's nothing easy about it, but if you want it enough, it doesn't need to be easy. The harder it is, the better it is, and the more rewarding it will be at the end. You'll come away and you'll feel so alive that you've just done that, that you've just smashed that fucking sales target, that you've just made that new company that you never thought you'd be able to do. That whatever it is, the harder stuff is the most rewarding. And if you give up before you finish that hard thing, you'll never experience like the real reward of actually achieving something.
I love that. Fuck, I mean, you could throw that over to life, but I'm curious what you have
can
for
throw
life
that
as
over to
well.
life as well. I think with life, it's a case of, for me, like, be driven and do shit that you want to do. Like, escape the bounds of what you think is possible and really ascertain and really work towards the things that make you uncomfortable. Because, and this, I suppose this isn't appropriate to everyone, but I think anyone that wants to achieve something, this will resonate with, because some people are just happy to kind of plod, you know what I mean, and never do that, and that's absolutely fine. And I envy you for doing that, because you'll never experience like the constant stress of wanting to be better, and that's great. Like I wish I could be like that sometimes, I really do. But like for those that understand the exact words that are coming out of my mouth, I think this will resonate, and that's just a case of like if you fucking want to do something, doesn't matter how impossible that shit feels, it's not. And if you work towards it, like you'll smash whatever you want. I was told I'd never walk again, and I ran a marathon. Like, you know,
Yeah.
fuck it. Like, there's so much more to life than just being okay. Like, you can be more than okay. You can be whatever you want to be.
Dude, I love that. I'm fucking, that's all I got. I don't know if you have anything else. Like, that's fucking.
No, I'm quite happy.
No, it's beautiful.
That, I guess.
Dude, well, fuck yeah. First of all, thank you so much for taking the time. Again, apologies for all the tech issues. That's
all right, mate.
Fucking amazing. Where can people, I'll send you a DM to get all your links to everything, that the 47,000 pages you have. But where, if people want to find your content, if people want to, I mean, we don't want them to connect with you, obviously. You don't reply. But where should people go to find you?
Any social media platform, you can find me as Halford Sucks, like what is spelt in the title. That's about it, really. Like,
fuck yeah.
Everything else you can sort of find from there if you want it enough. I mean, you can just Google me and I'll be on famous birthdays, apparently.
You get to learn all the fake information about your life.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Hey, dude.
That's about it, really. I guess I don't think there's nothing special to me. It's just search for it and it will be there, right?
Hell yeah, dude. Thank you so much, man. This was so much fun. I appreciate it.
I think this is the first time we've ever actually got to sit there. And
I think it is. Well, yeah. I think we've only had a couple of times, like in exchanges and lobbies and shit. But yeah, but that's been about it. So this was.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Dude, I love this. So seriously, thank you. And I'll let you know when this is coming out.
Yes, for sure. I'm gonna have to fucking get you on because I would like to do some interviews with people at some point, and you fascinate me, and I would like it to be more you at some point.
See, and I hate that shit. That's why. I hate it.
Put the pressure on you to spur of the moment at some point.
Dude,
that's something you're up for.
I'm so down. Just let me know when and where.
No, I love that, man. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Fuck yeah, brother. Hey, enjoy the rest of your day night.
Enjoy the rest of your stream without any tech issues.
Yeah. You know, we're only going to believe in things that are actually going to happen. All right, brother. Dude.
I'll catch you soon.
Sounds good. Later, man.
Ta-ra, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye. Holy shit. 3 hours? Okay, well, 2.5 was not streamed. Hold on. Wait, did we get follow botted again? We got follow botted again at the beginning of stream. Yo, Tony! Welcome back for the 11th month into the pristine, prestigious Motherfluffin' Pup Club. Sorry, friends. I need to open up all the music and all the things now so that we can hear all the things and you guys can hear all the things and I can hear. We got follow botted again. Why can I hear myself? Oh, because the kick is on. Tony, welcome back for the 11th month into the pristine, prestigious Motherfluffin'. Has that been playing the whole time? If that was playing the whole time. No. Okay, good. Oh, it was, but it was muted to you guys. I'm pretty sure. Oh, thank baby Jesus. Hold on. Sorry, friends. Hold on. We're almost there. Okay, now chat is up. There we go. Hi, everyone. Hello. Good day. Oh, that makes me happy. Hold on. Let me go and just save that video real fast. New content. Boom. What time did that start? 10:20. I think this is this one. Hold on. Let's see. After all those issues, I've officially hit record again.
Equivalent of about 50.
Thank God, no, it didn't. I would have lost my mind. Well, I feel like one of you would have just called me and been like, John! 413, Hal, WTF. Halford. Dude, that was another incredible conversation. Yo, UK Ayers! With the freaking gifted to small giraffe. Welcome into the pristine, prestigious Motherfluffin' Pup Club. Hold on, let me just fix my life real fast. Also, Fuzz, thank you for the follow. Welcome into the K9 unit. Noodle! Holy hell. There we freaking go. I mean, dude. Adrian, he's such a champion. Thank you guys so much. All the love. I mean, what are we thinking about this, man? What are we like? Fuck. I loved it because I also loved how this was. I mean, I feel like part of the more different I felt from someone we've talked to, because again, I am trying to get to the point where he is of loving that discomfort, of loving the process. That has been something that I've really struggled with outside of athletic endeavors. And so, yeah, being able to hear it from him and hearing how he fucking cold turkeyed sobriety, and like that's beautiful. Again, that's why I'm having these conversations, because you never know. You never ever know. Patrick Taylor, welcome back into the pristine, prestigious motherfucking pup club. Yeesh. Adrian, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm going to start releasing episodes on Monday of next week. You feel like he is the result of some of the HTE conversations that have been had in mod chat? The HTE? Oh, result of some of that makes more sense. Yeah. He really is. Hey, what's up, Zuleika? Holy hell. Wow. All right. So what's going to happen right now is I am going to go make some oatmeal. That was 3 hours. That's insane. It is 1:30. Dude, we talked to Greece in 2.5 hours. That's crazy. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to go. Yes, hold on. I can't think. That's always how this happens after these conversations. I can't think because I was so singularly focused, and now switching my brain to singular focus to everything is crazy. Meg, just want to say you absolutely love watching my face when I'm engaged in a conversation. My smile is so genuine. Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm going to put a break video on for you guys. We're going to take 10. I'm going to come back. We're going to say hello, and then we're going to switch over to the kick. All right, just kick in TikTok, get a little bit of Call of Duty action in, and then, dude, we have another conversation with another amazing creator in 2.5 hours. We get to talk to Grease Monkey. So, I mean, we get to talk from someone who got so fed up with Call of Duty that they switched over to gambling, to someone who's solely focused on Call of Duty. With the update being yesterday, I'm really excited to see what he comes up with. So, or what he's been feeling in that regard. So, HALFORD! What the my guy coming over to the kick and dropping the 10 gifted subs. We need to get all the HALFORDs on. Dude, thank you for being on. That's legitimately talking to everyone. That was such a beautiful conversation. And again, you are reminding me those things of so, I mean, granted, you're gone and you might not even be in the stream still, but that's one of what you described has motivated me so much, especially in regards to this podcast. It's I have to take the time off of stream to edit these, to upload these, taking that uncomfortable time of judging myself. In the moment, I feel great about these conversations, but my self-judgment is so high that I'm who wants to watch this? Who's going to watch this? Why are they going to watch this? What's the purpose of them watching this? And I start to judge myself to the point where I just don't do it. And there are legitimately 8 podcasts on my laptop that I'm holding on to. I have now 5 interviews. I have Nikki. I have Lady. I have you. I have Jade. I have Duck. I have 3 other ones that I've just done for Mental Health Mondays. And it's again, you don't find the success until you actually put in the work. So the amount of times that I've told myself that why am I just not a successful podcaster? And then I just check in with myself and I'm oh wait, John, how much are you doing that? How much are you putting that out into the world? How much are you? And it's oh my gosh, I'm not. So I I can be upset with the fact that I'm not where I want to be, but I can't because I'm not doing what it takes. So anyways, Meggles, thank you for the follow. I'm going to go take a 10-minute break. We're going to come back, play some Call of Duty, and then we're going to have another amazing conversation with Greece. And yeah, we're going to talk more about this when I get back, but enjoy the break video. I'll see you guys in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. Some amazing improvements. That was sarcasm, by the way. Yeah. Oh, you're lucky that I can't see. And you'll smash it. You have the talent and the charm. Just got to do that little more work, and you'll be smashing it. I appreciate that. This has to be. I do think. I think one of the biggest things that I've been afraid of is taking time away from stream. No, and I know that if I'm editing these or if I'm doing these offline,
you gotta work.
That's going to be more difficult. But where you at? I think that even recording these offline is going to make more sense. You guys might be bummed because you don't get to see it live, but. Anyways, okay, making food, BRB, talk amongst yourselves. What's the highlight of our day besides that amazing conversation? Go. I can't see shit.
You fucking ass bitch.
Suck it, Jazzy. Let's keep getting those Halfords in chat.
Thank you.
On the loadout, right here, puppies.
Yep.
That's so bad. I'm gonna
More
land
dogs.
on that.
Yeah, you're a bunch of fucking losers.
Oh, am I, Ghastly?
I thought that was you. Took all his money.
Hey, GG, good kid. That's
Oh, he complimented me. What? Broke? Dead?
Beautiful. You're just too good at this game.
awesome. I'm trying to leave his. Oh.
Sorry, Smoke. Hold on, he's right here. Let me just end him real fast. Nope.
I'm gone. Now I have 2.
I hear that, brother. Thank you.
Load.
Give me a plate somewhere, bro. What? Live.
Guys, come on. Oh, shit.
Yeah, he couldn't process what just happened. Oh!
Hey, we got. Oh my god.
Oh, you like my sniper or what? You like my sniper or what?
I knew there was someone out there. I fucking knew it. Oh! Sweet.
Yo.
Nice.
Oh my god. Oh my.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Take me away.
Dumbass.
Yeah, dumbass?
Oh, how the fuck?
Dumbass? That's what I thought, brother. Lost man, sorry about this.
Down one.
Oh, it's okay, buddy.
Dead.
I got her.
Good thing tactical grandma's on your team.
He goes, good thing tactical grandma's on your team. Oh my God! Die! Just like I planned it. I don't understand it, dude. You got so lucky, bro. You got so lucky.
Yeah, hi. Where you landed?
I don't know. Where are you landing?
I don't know.
You don't know? Oh, boy.
Oh, you're good at it.
Oh, thanks.
Marco.
Polo.
I downed one up top.
Nice.
Beautiful.
No need to worry about me. I'm not here for you, buddy. I just want to fill up my car and be on my merry way.
Okay, man, bye.
Yeah. Hope to see you at the end game, though.
Goodbye, man.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Got a cruise?
Maybe. Let's just hope to see each other later in the end game. I'm filled with rage, so I have to go assassinate some people to feel better about myself.
All right, man. You have a good one.
You as well. And they decided to instead. That's
Tony
my name.
Montana, bro.
Tony Montana. Nice. No,
Legging out. I'm legging out for it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
I won it for us. What? Wait, what? Hold on.
We're gonna build the wall. We have no choice.
Dude, this game sucks. I'm gonna have an aneurysm.
Oh.
I fucking hate this game, dude.
There's no way
Vigorous, are you?
Then he kills himself right after. There's no
Another one playing in.
Bitch.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Oh, you mother.
Yeah.
You bitch.
Nope. Do it. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
What's up, puppies?
What's up?
Well,
Oh, dude, you're so sad. It hurts.
are you sure?
Yeah.
You're the one
'cause-
running away? Look at that. Oh, jump shot too. Jump shot.
Oh man, gosh, you just complain so much.
No, I did not.
Oh.
How do you have
New
such a
batteries.
brain,
What the f? Who the f are you talking to, dumbass boy?
Who are you talking to, bro? Fucking hey, bro. What are you talking about, dude? Hey, you, bro.
In the arms of the angel.
Fucking get out of your tower, Rapunzel. But that works. This game is fucking trash.
Cannot cheat on me.
That's
My
so
people.
awesome. My people.
Oh.
Oh, bro, wait, that's who you were talking about.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you didn't say what fucking corner where.
You think I'll make it? Save the other one.
I hate this game.
What happened?
It landed on my fucking LTV. I can't even be mad because I was right.
Oh.
If I die again. Dude, if this car would start. Bro, I'm dead.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
You made it. Oh my God, with a take left.
Oh my God. Ah! Nope, sitting in with a shotgun. Yeah.
Oh man, I got stuck on this stupid door.
Gas is inbound. Marking new safe zone.
GG's.
GG's, bud. What's up, little Anna? How you doing? Oh my. Dude. Hey, are you curious? Anyone curious as to why I haven't moved in the last 30 seconds?
You glitch? Can I get
your guns.
Bro, you.
Get in the car. Get in
Okay.
the car.
I can't. Bring it closer. Yeah, no, I'm in. Can you scoot me back?
You got him. He's on top.
But I can't get in. I can't do anything at all. Okay. Dude, I'm not.
Ammo crate over there too.
Bro!
No, the bomb drone.
Dude, the fucking
In the
heartbeat
water.
sensor's broken!
Enemy UAV overhead.
I'm out. I'm out.
Bro!
What the hell are you talking about? Huh?
Hey, you always don't know what I'm talking about. You just open your ears, huh?
Open my ears.
Open your ears!
How do I do that? I can't. I don't know.
You just spread your butt cheeks apart to open your ears.
You gotta be shitting me, huh?
That's exactly what happens after you open your ears.
Listen. If I spread my ass cheeks, it's gonna sound like a wind tunnel.
That's okay. I love tunnels.
You know. I don't know where you're going with that, but you can't. You listen. You can't go inside. Like,
Ew.
you can't
Whoa,
No,
whoa.
by the way, wait. That's not what I meant. Those freaking bisexuals, man.
I'm sweating in my undercarriage just thinking about it.
Someone said this is why you never win duos. Why? Because I'm
Say it.
bisexual and Abby's is straight? Is that what you're trying to say? Is it because you're saying I'm kind of too balanced?
No, there's a guy below you. You just landed in.
Oh, shoot.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to leave you so you can get your load out.
Thank you so much. I don't know if I trust you, though.
You can see me walk away. I'm going to go over to your left. You peek out
Okay,
the door.
I'm grabbing the loadout. Grabbing the loadout. Thank you for being kind.
I'm out. I'm out.
GG's. Best of luck. I'm going to come and run you over. Sorry in advance. Is this unhealable?
Enemy UAV overhead.
Wicked mother jester with the
Welcome to the Mother Fluffin' Pup Club.
Welcome back to another episode of How Warzone f***ed me this week.
What? I'm not I'm in the sky. Now I'm not. Oh, what is this game? Okay, I'm falling from the sky. I'm parachuting in, perhaps.
A few moments later.
Have you parachuted yet?
Oh, yeah. 3 or 4 times. I think this is number 4. Dude, where? I mean, everyone's timing out. I think. Oh, no, I was.
Target set up. Get to work.
I watched it happen in
Grandma, you might want to take your headset off because I'm gonna scream. I'm gonna break the game! Just want your help in writing my story about a llama. Is that too much to ask? Damn, bro. That sucks. Dude, this game is ass. You should have been dead and you know that.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I vetoed it. I vetoed it.
Okay, it was called veted. It's almost like veto. Like you vetoed the hair. Your ass or the veto?
I vetoed my ass.
Yeah, but the smell of the V or your ass?
The smell of my ass is incredible.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, you will. You will bring honor to the Persian Empire.
Me when I'm about to engage in it.
Oh my god.
I hope your fingers clean. Eat it before you eat it.
You've got gas inbound.
I will make sure to eat it before you put a finger near my butthole.
Follicle. No one will ever.
The goal of the Persian Empire is to make sure that everyone has clean assholes.
Ever speak of your asshole again, because I will remove every follicle into your ass hair 16.
You will no longer be able to grow follicles on your butthole.
You sounded like the train guy.
Yo, how are you gonna ban me after someone gifted me a sub? That's not very nice, man.
Have you met yourself? You're not a nice person either.
I just said I shit on you.
Yeah, I know.
But my ego is just higher than yours. I'm not being mean.
And you think that's a good thing?
I mean, I'm just confident. Is that a bad thing?
Confident and having an ego are completely different.
I mean, I'm just good at the game and I'm confident. That's all it is.
Okay. Okay. So what map do you want to play on?
Any map that makes you better.
Awesome. I love that. All right, let me turn it on actually. Hold on.
Welcome to the mother.
That was easy. Yeah, I'm gonna rotate. Dude, can you move up? Okay. Dude, I can't jump up this! Dude, I'm dead. Because of this stupid game! Mortared him. Odor. They were right where I put that. Oh wait, where did my airstrike go? Or my mortar strike?
A million miles away.
Dude, alrighty, friends. Guess what? It's officially time for us to sneak over to the kick. All right, so Twitch friends, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for spending this lovely time with us. We're switching over to the kick, so kick on over there, all right? Kick.com/IGotPuppies. You can download the Kick app, and that's where we're going. All right, I love you guys, and I'll see you over on the kick. Let's keep this show on the road. Who just joined? Someone just joined the pristine, prestigious Mother Fluffin' Pup Club. Thank you so much. Facebook, again, doesn't show me anything. So if you're in the Facebook, in the YouTube, get over to the kick. All right? I love you guys. I'll see you over there. Remember, you're only as amazing as you treat other people, so be kind to someone for no other reason than it's the awesome thing to do. I love the fluff out of you guys. Y'all are champions, scholars, and everything in between. I love y'all. See you in a little bit. Well, I'll see you right now because you're going to go over to the kick because you're awesome. Bye.